right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day. I know it's afternoon or evening or something like that for some of you. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's morning for me still. All right. Coffee's going and my brain is almost working. I said almost. Don't get it wrong. Okay. Yeah. Don't get it wrong. All right. Good afternoon to you, Jeremy. All right. Yeah, got lots of stuff to go through today. So let's just jump right into it because you guys don't want to hear me just chit chat about nothing, anyways, right? Because, it's just, yeah, you don't need to do that, bro. Yeah, you go ahead. You can say it. It's okay. You don't hurt my feelings. All right. Let me get my thingy over here. There we go. And let's hit that X button. Yeah. You know which button I'm talking about. And it is kind of cool that I haven't had to play anybody else's videos lately because of the fact that we're pretty much spot on covering this stuff. However, today we are going to hit a few of them. Yeah, we got a few things to try and do, and little time to do it in. We got about 3 hours. Trying to ration what I have left for fuel, so we have to and I haven't had anybody out here to make a fuel run for me, so that makes it a little bit tough. I did get water this morning, though, which is awesome. I got water this morning. And 500, almost 600 gallons brought in this morning, which is great. So now I'm back on the fresh water and not using rainwater because I used rainwater all winter long. And I got a great catch system, so yeah, it's Richard, depends on which one you're talking about. I got one about 2 weeks ago and took care of what you asked me to do with it. And if you sent something after that, I haven't received it. So, yeah. And I said, thank you too, by the way, on that, during that podcast. A quick message here. Please say thank you for all the birthday wishes. Thank you. Right on. I'm watching your Facebook feed. Watching your video feed on Facebook. You need me and my truck out there for some reason. What is the fuel run? I'm broke, but I got lots of time. Oh no, I just said, Don, I got somebody. I got somebody coming out at 6 p.m. tonight. They're gonna take and do a fuel run for me. I have 10 5-gallon cans that I send in to get filled up about every 9 or 10 days. A 5-gallon can will last me between two generators. For the daytime, I run an 1800 watt generator just to run the computer and a light over the puppies and the Wi-Fi. And then I have a second generator, which is the big generator. And that I turn on for like my pizza oven or the microwave, the coffee pot, things like that. And then if I need to run a tool or something like that, I'm capable of doing so now. Jake came out and fixed up my 1800 just so that I can conserve on fuel, until I have somebody out here making regular runs for me. But basically, it's enough fuel to last me 9 to 10 days. But I got somebody coming out tonight. You ain't got to drive all the way down from Portland for that. But thank you though for the offer, brother. It'd be good to see you anyways. But I understand the situation, financial situation, getting around, traveling around. So, all right, quick message from Auntie Wells. Please say thank you for all of the birthday blessings sent to me yesterday. Still with the sisters. Have a blessed podcast. Heavenly Father's blessings, love, and protection to all. Okay. So she sent me a message yesterday. She said, "What did you do?" And I says, "I'm innocent." And she's like, for some reason, I just don't believe that you are. uh, it's and then she said, "Martin, what did you do?" I says, "I plead the fifth." Um, so I didn't tell her that I was sending out her email to everybody to go ahead and message her and wish her a happy birthday. But I will tell you what, it lifted her spirits big time, and she said thank you to each and every one of you that sent messages to her. She appreciated that. When she had a chance to be off the road and take a look at her emails, it brightened her day big time. Well, she was having a brightened day anyways because she was with her two sisters. But it's always great when you got people that you sit and chat with and talk with and everything, and these people are sending you well wishes and stuff too. So so she had a very busy birthday. For somebody who was celebrating their birthday, instead of it being all about her, it was all about them going around to all these different sales, yard sales and stuff like that. I guess they were out gallivanting around together, and they still have to go and load up all the items that they bought because they weren't they didn't have anything to haul all that stuff home with, and I don't think they expected to buy that stuff. It just you never know what you're gonna find at a yard sale until you get there, right? You know, I used to love going to yard sales. That was would be great. You know. Let's see. Okay, so let's get into my feed. I'm gonna scroll down. Get down here, get down here, get down here, get down there now. Um, yeah, I'll tell you, these protests are starting to annoy the piss out of people, and but then again, isn't that what they're supposed to do, right? The ability to um, for people to manipulate situations and timing in order to make people's lives miserable um, is just a thing that people get away with doing, right? Um, yeah. So I got a few things to show you guys today. As you can see, there's quite a few things to show you guys today. I was going through a whole bunch of stuff. I think I played this yesterday. But I think I'm probably going to end up playing it again. Let's see. I want to make sure that I'm getting. Okay, I'm getting there. You puppies need to chill the heck out because I'm just not having it. Okay, I think that I stopped. Oh, yep, I know I'm getting close to it now. Okay, yeah. Oh boy. Okay, I think this is where I was yesterday in regards to the Marine that was picked up, and he was talking about information. Oh, okay. Yep, I did want to go back farther because there was a thing here on Eric Adams that I wanted to show you guys. I thought was kind of perfect timing with everything going on in New York right now. And I think that people are getting a little tired of that as well. Plus, there was a couple of things from Tony Robinson that I wanted to share with you guys as well. And I think I'm getting there. Okay, that's where I left off yesterday. Okay, all right. So, all right. Let's see here. So Lawrence Fox says vilified, beaten, bullied, maced, jailed. Tony Robinson, new era, has stayed strong and is exposing establishment corruption. They want to destroy him because he speaks for the many. Congratulations. And this is a guy from over in the UK.
So Tommy, Wendell Dennison Street, Mike, what has transpired this afternoon?
It transpired that just before, after hearing all the evidence, their own prosecutor asked for a break so he could review the Crown's position. What he means is he heard that the police officers have falsified evidence. At the moment of giving me the dispersal order, they didn't even have a signed dispersal order. The time on the dispersal order was 2 o'clock. They arrested me at 1 o'clock. They then went in later at 4 o'clock and changed the times. Yeah. So there was no lawful order to disperse me. The officer who sanctioned and authorised the order didn't have authorisation to do it in that area. I wasn't in the zone to get dispersed from. Every single thing they done unlawfully and illegally. Yeah, they're meant to take into account my rights as a journalist. That they took no accounts. The officer's words were "so what?" Yeah, when I mentioned it, they are meant to give you legal time to leave from the time of me apparently receiving the order, which they didn't even read out properly. They're meant to say that you have a right to challenge the order if you believe you have a reason why you shouldn't have to leave. Yeah, he didn't say that at all. He just left that totally out because they knew I was trying to put across my right that I'm a journalist and I'm at work. They're not allowed to legally give an order to someone who's a journalist and at work. Yeah, so they failed on 5 or 6 legal points today. But so we've asked the case to be dismissed at 10:30 in the morning. The judge will make the decision if there's even evidence. Yeah, so if he says there is evidence and there was a lawful order, then we continue with the trial where I give evidence, where my witness gives evidence, where we show, which we proved today. At no point, every police officer, you heard the officer in his evidence said, one of them said, well, I lost my body cam footage. The other officer said, oh, mine was deleted over. The reason why they don't want the body cam footage is because then you have the audio of what they were saying and what I was saying. Yeah. All I was saying is my need my car keys, which again is a reasonable excuse for me not to leave, which I didn't even say I wasn't leaving. What I kept saying is, I need my colleague. Yeah. He needs to come with me. If you're going to escort me out of here, my car's over there. He's got my car keys. How can I leave? You can't just walk me down the road. My car's there. So all of this has been deleted. There is no footage, which again, I think the Met Police have just exposed themselves as corrupt, as liars, as believing they are above the law themselves. The actions, we've all seen two-tier policing. It's been a total embarrassment and humiliation to the whole country. Everyone now knows the things I spoke about 13 years ago. When I first started my activism, I spoke about two-tier policing. When I first wrote a leaflet dated 2004, I talked about how whites and blacks are being racially and religiously targeted in Luton Town by Islamic gangs and the police do nothing. How we, when I say we, whites and blacks get treated with iron fists, yeah, by the police. A certain community is given exemptions. What we've seen with the protests is everyone in the country has witnessed those exemptions that are given. They've witnessed the way that they're policed in comparison to other communities of police. So the whole country now knows what I saw. I saw it because I'm from the town of Luton. I've seen the police pander to them, as we've seen the Metropolitan Police pander to them. These problems, the reason why grooming gangs were allowed to happen is because the police were scared of them. It's not just grooming gangs they let happen. They literally let every crime go along. 55,000 girls, female genitally mutilated with not one single prosecution in this country. That crime carries 14 years in prison. No one was prosecuted. There are exemptions across the board because we have a police force which is intimidated by an Islamic extremist community. That's what we're seeing. So I've gone off on one there, but I'm in court. I think tomorrow I should have my name cleared. I want to say a thank you to every single person who supported me. Whenever I walk in there, even if I go to jail, I know I'm not alone. I know there's an army of people supporting me. Everywhere I walk in the streets, people shake my hand. I don't get grief anymore. I used to get a lot of grief. I used to get a lot of abuse. It doesn't happen anymore. I think there's been a mass awakening in the last 12 months, certainly since October the 7th, in this country and across the Western world. So I just want to say thank you because my QC, which is Alistair Williamson, was unbelievable. Yeah, anyone who sat in there saw how good he was. Tana, who is my solicitor from Carson K, they've been brilliant throughout this. But I never would have had the opportunity to have that legal team if it wasn't for you supporting my case. I hope I get justice tomorrow. I hope I get a win, and I hope you get a win because you've supported me for so long. So I hope really we do get justice and we can celebrate it on St. George's Day. Could there ever be? Do you know when I was sitting, when they were doing the dates and they were mentioning through the dates, I text my solicitor.
Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second. I want to cover two things real quick. Young lady asked a minute ago, has Dave gone AWOL again? Is he MIA again? He has been posting up on Twitter. I have not seen anything new on the Rumble yet. And I have not talked to him in about a week and a half. I will try to give him a call today to see how he's doing and everything. I know he had a whole bunch of stuff going on that he was trying to get taken care of. Plus, he was involved with trying to get things back on track with Mike Gill and such. So we'll have to. All we can do is, when he's ready to be back on, he'll be back on. So that's all I can. That's pretty much all I can fill you in on this. So now, in regards to this video here, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off here because there's going to be more coming up here. And the reason that I wanted to show this was he was talking about the St. George Day, which was I believe yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday though. And we're going to be covering a lot of different things going on St. George Day. That basically these guys are the police over there are just completely out of hand. They're charging the regular Brits and Scots that live there in that area, in those areas, with all kinds of hate crimes for speaking honestly about what's going on in their communities and everything. And protecting the illegals that are all over that country, and going after, pretty much doing the same thing that they're doing here, only there it's definitely a lot more physical as to what's going on. Bandits at Jim Jordan, stop the performative talk on Hannity and Twitter. And let's see what he's got to say.
Offense, Jim Jordan. No, don't go on Hannity and tell me everything you're going to do and send some tweets out. That's all performative. Nothing's happening to back President Trump. Nothing.
I want to specify a key word that he just used. Performative. Okay. Actors.
You've got War Room. You got a couple other shows. Besides that, it's total crickets. Nothing's happening to support President Trump. Let me repeat that. Nothing. The Republican Party is not going. Johnson, what did he do when he came? Oh, Trump supports me 100%. What did you say you were going to do for President Trump? I don't remember you saying anything. It's absolutely outrageous. Offense, Jim Jordan. No, don't go on Hannity and tell.
Ganja, I did not know that Tommy was cell neighbors with Julian Assange. That's cool. It's cool. So at least Julian's getting updates as to what's going on regularly. Yes, central casting. Exactly, Roy Rogers. You're exactly correct. And Steve Mnuchin is a movie producer. Yes, he is. Performative. Yeah, I like that word. All right. They all suck. That's what the Ultra MAGA Party says.
If you want to know what politics looks like without Trump, study the face. Study the weak, sad face of Michael Johnson. That's politics without Trump. He can be replaced by anyone great. Like, I'm all for just punishing him and replacing him just because why not? It's a gesture of some sort, but these guys all suck.
Mike is a very good man. He begins every day from the right place, deeply principled. And he's like a brother to me. He is maybe the only guy in history that could potentially perform and help us navigate through these very dark and challenging times when he has to deal with a one-vote majority in the House of Representatives. He's got a Democrat-controlled Senate and a weaponized Democrat-controlled White House. You got one guy that can deal with that. You know who it is? My brother, Mike Johnson.
And I think Kevin McCarthy's the right guy to lead us. I really do. I would be standing up here giving this speech. I like his fight. I like his tenacity. And I like that. I remember Kevin told me, I actually wrote about this in a book. I remember Kevin told me, he said, when the toughest times in life are when you get knocked down, the question is, can you come back? And I've always seen him be able to do that.
They all suck. These people all suck. That is the rule. Don't get it twisted. Don't delude yourself. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. They all suck.
And he's 100% accurate. They all suck. Every single one of them. Yep. All right. Georgia's Gabe Sterling goes silent and is in hiding since Georgia State Election Board finds violations in second 2020 election investigation. This is going to be interesting to see where direction this goes. All right. Here's another funny for us. Hey, bro, you only have 6 minutes. Okay, let's see what so this is the annoying HOA guy that these guys have been filming for a couple of years now.
Hey bro, listen, you've got like dirt on your shower, and then you've got 6 minutes to get this package off your porch. You know the rules, you know why, you know exactly what I'm doing. You got 6 minutes, okay? By the time I walk down to my house, it better be off your porch because it takes about 6 minutes. So 6 minutes, that's all I'm giving you. If not, you will be fined from it. The HOA will fine you for it. And I'm keeping an eye out because I can't go to work, obviously. I broke my ankle on that rock over there. You got 6 minutes.
I broke my ankle on that rock over there from coming over here and annoying you every day. Yeah. Raheem says, wow. Tony Robinson makes an absolute mug out of a Sky News reporter who had no idea what she was even reporting on. Here we go.
I am a journalist, yeah? Unfortunately for you, I'm a far better journalist than people like yourself, and I have more trust in people like yourself. It's the reason...
Most journalists don't have criminal convictions, though.
I've never been tried by a jury.
Well, you're about to be.
No,
you're
I'm
about
not.
to be.
No,
well,
you're about to go to.
You're about to have a trial.
If you knew your facts, there's no jury waiting.
But it is a trial.
Yeah, by an appointed judge.
Yes.
By an appointed judge.
Yes, and that's due to the severity of the alleged offence, and that's what courts do. They start off at the magistrates' court and it goes up to the Crown Court.
It's due to the severity of the alleged offence. What was my alleged offence? You've got one in my face.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
No, I'm bored now.
What's my alleged offence?
I'm bored now.
You're bored. What a great journalist. What a great journalist. What a great journalist.
Okay.
This is the problem, yeah? What is my alleged offence? You don't know, do you?
Your alleged offence.
Are you getting up on your phone?
He's charged with refusing to leave an anti-Semitism protest in London. He's charged with failing to comply a Section 35 direction excluding a person from an area. So do you plead guilty or not guilty to that?
Are you the judge?
I'm asking you. Just asking you.
What are you the judge? Listen,
I'm asking you. No, this is what we do, right? Journalists will come to court, and if you've got something to say, we want you to hear what you want to say, and then you go into court, and that's it. I'm asking you to make a statement. That's all. That's normal. I thought, as a journalist, you'd know that.
Look at this is Sky News. You know Jason Farrell? Yeah. So let me tell you, Sky News. You know what I did? I went for an interview with your TV show, and I left a hidden camera on the side. And Jason Farrell interviewed me for an hour. And when you put your clip out, it was 2 minutes long. And what you've done, look at this. And what you've done is you took what I said, you put a voiceover, and you totally changed the context because it was the most complained about show that year. Look, this is the attitude of so-called. She thinks she takes some old high ground as a journalist, yeah? She don't even know
normally journalists ask questions and you answer.
And I'm a journalist, that's why I'm asking you questions, darling.
Are
you going to wait out here to apologise when it gets proven this was all unlawful?
Oh, I'll be looking forward to watching.
Well, and just so you know, he never did get an apology from her. So she stayed away from him during his speech there. All right, 2020 versus 2024. Funny how things tend to crop up every 4 years for some reason. And yeah, so this is 2020, or this is 2020, this is 2024.
Whole sidewalk.
Now, personally, I don't see any fucking difference between the two. I don't see any difference between the two. That's right, Fred. Yep, he won his case. So, all right. Remember I played for you guys a couple of days ago a clip with Tucker Carlson says members of Congress are terrified the intel agencies planting kiddie porn on their computers. Well, in all actuality, I kind of think that they probably had their own kiddie porn on their computers, but you never know. It's MJ Truth Ultra says, I'm not even sure I should post this. I saw it the other day, but it seems to have gone viral. So I thought I'd best be exercise some due diligence since it happened under one of my posts. James O'Keefe shared my viral Tucker video saying that intel agencies plant kiddie porn on their computers. Under the repost, there is a woman self-identified as Jennifer Guskin who claimed to have been a victim of rape 30 years ago. That's funny. 30 years ago. Didn't Roseanne just say that she was raped by Joe Biden? Bergdorf, she sore. Oh, Roseanne, gotta love her. Gotta love her. Yeah. All right. She says a man named Sanders was there, who currently still in office today. Everyone assumes it's Bernie Sanders. Was forced to do things with a young boy in front of his family, and we talked about this, about how they basically threatened the family. When I was a child, I was brought into the basement to be violated while I was being raped. A man was dragged downstairs and was told to rape a boy that was bent over in front of him, or they would off the man and his family, who were lined up along the wall, where there was also a man behind a camera on a tripod. We covered part of this yesterday. So it seems that this is going to become more and more prevalent in our news cycles, at least on X, anyways. There appears to be a lot of there's a lot of truth coming out, but it's just getting people to watch it and then maybe do a little bit of research behind each of the interviews or articles or whatever they're sharing with us. It's like so hard to get people to research into it, so the idea of it is okay, just because we support Trump doesn't mean we praise Trump, right? Just because we support pro-life doesn't mean that there shouldn't be certain things installed in order to make sure for rape, for incest, sexual abuse kind of thing, or for minors, under the age of 16, having children, and such. These are all understandable situations. And a lot of that stuff gets turned back over to the state, but it doesn't mean that we can't support the pro-life, okay? Because every life matters, every single life. It doesn't matter what color you are, okay, or what walk of life that you come from, except for except for the pedophiles. It's those, I think, that that they have no right to life. As a matter of fact, they have no right to their nuts. We're going to be covering an article on that in just a short time here. A guy down south is being physically castrated today. because of a rape that he committed on a 14-year-old girl who ended up pregnant because of that rape, you know, and all that. So just because we support things doesn't necessarily make us a bad person. Okay. No different than those who support Joe Biden, you know, or Kamala Harris or whatever. The fact of the matter is there are just certain situations where people are waking up and beginning to understand that this game that the uniparty has been playing on the American people in trying to create all these divisions, you know, need to be uh, those things need to be put aside, and everybody needs to come together, and we just need to put an end to this. And it's the only way it's going to happen is if everybody comes together and says, you want to know what, we're done with you screwing the American people, period. Okay, we're tired of our money leaving our country going to support other countries. Okay, when you're not even taking care of the people that provide the taxes, you know, that have been paying taxes for years. You know, you think about how many people are homeless now just since the big C crisis of 2020. Okay, that started the big V rollout of 2021. Okay, because those didn't come out until after he was out of office. So people can't actually blame him for those because of the fact that they came out afterwards. Everybody did everything that they could to stop them from coming out before he left office. Okay. So, and now we're finding out about all the injuries that have happened because of the V. And that is creating a whole other plethora of things going on. Unfortunately, we cannot cover that on this channel because we will get taken down. But there is quite an extensive amount of information out there. If you're looking to find out about the V injured, you will, well, we already know, but those that are new to the channel, you know, if you haven't done any research into it, I would highly suggest it. You know, it's pretty bad. I saw a video yesterday of a woman who was standing in front of about 100 and I think it was about 110 Democrats. And she asked how many people know people who were V injured. Everybody raised their hand. And then the next question was how many of those people died, and everybody kept a hand up. And then the next question is how many of you have known more than 5 people that were V injured? And people, instead of taking their hand down, they just raised their other hand up. And it was every single person in the room. Okay, the cameraman, it was the first time I've ever seen, and this is the crazy thing is this is about an hour before Biden went in to speak. Okay. And every single person, the cameraman turned it around. And like I said, there was only about 100, 125 people in the room, but every single person had both of their hands up in the air. Like they were like, okay, I give up, you know, kind of thing. And that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Now, the next question she asked was, how many of you have actually researched into this to find out whether or not it was a V injury or was it a systemic? And only like 10% of those people had done any research into it. And it was, you know, it was so disappointing to see that, because it's like anytime anybody's going to put anything into their body, then, you know, you should know everything about what you're putting into your body, everything. Not just the big name things. Okay. You should know every single thing that you're putting into your body. And if we don't start paying attention to these things, Depopulation is going to happen. Okay. And that's it. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I want people awake. I want people, understanding that these people are not out for our best interest, period. And it doesn't matter what party you're from. They are both from the same party. They are both two sides of the same coin, two wings on the same bird, two branches on the same freaking tree. Okay. And until people realize that, it's got absolutely nothing to do with parties. It's got to do with us against them, period. Doesn't matter. You can put a D in front of it. You can put an R in front of it. You can even put an I in front of it for independent. Okay. And we've got too many uniparties. Okay. Because that's exactly what that is. All of those people are neither R's, they're not D's, and they're not I's. They are U's for uniparty, period. They say what you want to hear up until the election time, okay? And then once the election happens and they win, they go and they do whatever the hell they want. They don't do what the constituents want, no matter where you're from, and we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing all these truths coming out. And let me tell you, this is going to, honestly, a lot of people aren't going to be able to handle it. A lot of people just aren't going to be able to handle it. Between all the medical things that they've been doing over the last 10, 15, even 20 years, everything all the way down the line, what they've been putting in our foods, what they've been doing to, in order, what they've been doing with our tax dollars, everything all the way down the line. It's neither party. It's both of them together. It's both of them together. Both parties need to go bye-bye. And it just needs to come down to the American people. We, the people. We need to be in control of what's going on there. And the fact that Washington, D.C. is still, at this point, a foreign country. Yeah. Well, that's it.
So they've taken away.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to this. What the heck just happened there? Did my stuff just jump like crazy or what? It did. It did. My stuff just did a jump. Nope. Dang nabbit. Dang nabbit. Okay. All right. So this is a message for Donald Trump.
Donald.
From a lady who has been a Democrat for a long, long time. Let's take a listen to what she says.
Donald Trump. President Trump, my name is Rhonda Rochelle Richardson. Most people who know me well call me Triple R. I really don't care what you call me, but I just want to introduce myself to you and let you know I'm a woman from Ohio. And before I go any further, let me just be clear about a couple of things. When you ran for president of the United States around 2016, I was probably your biggest critic at that time. And I do want to admit, I said some things about you that were not nice. Okay. I was wrong. Okay. For what I said. And I want to apologize to you because I recognize that I was wrong for what I said about you. I was critical of you and I was hard on you at that time. But around 2020, in the trenches of the pandemic, God began to speak to me about you. And he changed my heart about you. And there's a lot of things about you that I do like and that I've always liked. So let me be clear about that. There's always been things about you that I've admired and that I've always liked. But around 2020, God placed you in my heart. And there's something in my heart that I love about you that I just can't put my finger on. God changed my heart about you. And I don't know why, but I do know he's placed you in my heart. And so today I took some time out of my day because I want to talk to you. Okay. I've got some things I want to share with you that God also placed on my heart. Okay. Listen, everybody up under the sun can see that the reason you have multiple legal cases and all of this legal drama coming at you from every direction is because you are a threat. And I think you know that. You are a threat. You know, when people are intimidated by you, threatened by you, yeah, they will do stuff like this. They will conjure up fake cases and try to find every reason imaginable to destroy you. And they will even resort to trying to put you in jail. Now, let me just say this. You know, for years, I was a Democrat. And I believe that the reason I was a Democrat for years, a big part of it is indoctrination. I do believe that. You know, in the Black community, you grow up hearing your parents and your grandparents say that you're supposed to vote Democrat, and that's what you do, right? You know, but of course, when you get older and you understand policies and you see what some of these people stand for, you know, you start to think for yourself. I have seen enough of the Democrats to know that I am done with the Democrats. Okay. And I believe that there are a lot of other people in the Black community who feel the same way. We're done. We are fed up with them and they will not get our vote. And I want to also apologize to you because I know that you were right about that border. And the border is the number one reason. That's the driving force that has allowed me to come to this conclusion. So many problems are evolving from the situation at this border. And I want to let you know you're right about the border, and you're also right about so many other things too. Okay. I don't want to go too deep into all of that in this video, but I want to let you know I was one of the people who was raised in a family where you voted Democrat. Those days are over. Those days are over. Okay. I have finally seen the light. You were right about the border and about the fact that the Democrats have totally abandoned and neglected the Black community. They don't have a plan in place for us, but I believe you do. And I believe in you. And I want to let you know I'm sorry because I was wrong about you back in 2016. God has changed my heart about you. I do believe that you have great plans for the Black community and for this country in general, for all people. And I do believe that you're going to use your influence and your power to bring everybody together. I really believe that. I believe in you. Okay. But going back to this legal stuff that you're going through, okay, everybody knows you're going through it because people are intimidated by you. You're a threat. The Democrats know that you are going to beat Joe Biden, and they are coming up with everything imaginable to try to stop you. All of these bogus cases. And let me just say this before I go any further. Nobody has listened to that call that you and Mark Meadows made to the Secretary of State in Georgia. Nobody listened to that call more than I did. I have listened to that call a million times. And I did not hear election interference in that call. I'm going to do a different video later and I'm going to talk about what I heard in that call. But I just want to let you know, I listened to that call. That was not election interference. I heard a man who really believed that he won that election. And what I also heard are people who were on the state of Georgia side who also.
Okay. Now I want to make a point here real quick. Now I have a friend who lives up in Portland, and he lives over in the St. John's area, and he used to come and visit me when Trump was in office. He would come and visit me probably 3 times a week. Now that's a 90 to 100 mile drive, maybe 110 miles each way. Okay, and he used to take drives. He'd go up into the mountains for a whole day. He'd take trips out to the coast. Okay. He would take trips up into Washington. He would go and spend, time with friends. One of the best guitar players that I've ever met in my lifetime. Okay. Would go and jam with everybody that he possibly could. Okay. Every opportunity that he had to go and play, he was there. Anytime there was an open mic thing going on, he was there. Now, since Biden's gone into office in 2021, do you want to know what my friend has done? He stayed home. Okay. His rent has increased probably 1/3, okay, of what he was paying when Trump was in office. Okay. Probably 1/3, maybe even by half of what he was paying. Okay. He can't afford fuel anymore, especially at $4 or more per gallon. You know, he was paying, you know, $1.10, $1.20, maybe $1.15. You know, you know where I'm going with this, guys. Okay, you know, the guy has literally become a recluse because of the fact that he can't afford to do anything anymore. You know, one of his biggest things was taking care of stray cats. Okay. And the conversations that him and I would have, you know, he'd come out and spend time with the dogs here, things like that, you know, and everything. But, you know, we always had talks about his cats. Okay. He would take these cats in and he would get them healthy and everything. Some of them he would find new homes for. He was the altruistic cat dude, you know, because he's always been laid back, always been laid back, you know. And the thing is, you know, what she's saying here is, you know, is a prime point, okay, that all of us, you know, up until 2021, all of us literally had lives. Every single one of us had lives. Okay. Um, and it's now we don't. Now we don't. Okay. We don't get to go visit our friends. We don't get to go visit our family. We don't get to buy the things that we need for our house. Half the time we're lucky if we can pay the electric, we can pay the rent, we can pay the insurance on the car. We can put 10 gallons of gas in our cars. All of that changed. And it didn't happen under Donald Trump. It happened under Joe Biden. You know, I have other friends that live up there that they used to take and at least 2 or 3 times a year, they would take a week-long trip somewhere. Okay. My friend Marianne, you know, her and her partner, you know, they used to be able to take trips, go for a week, and they used to be able to do it 2 or 3 times a week. And their Facebook would be filled with photographs of their trip and their joy and their time together and everything else. And now they don't get to do that. They don't get to do that anymore. And they're on in the years. Both of them are retired. But now they're lucky if their retirement covers the expenses of the house that they live in. You know, all you have to do is look at the economic situation by itself. And that should tell you that people have been leading these parties in the wrong direction with the wrong, it's, you know, Nancy Pelosi calls it the wrap-up smear. We're going to lie on national TV, and you, the reporters, you're going to go on TV and we're going to be able to confirm what you're saying because we're in the Senate or we're in Congress or because we're in the White House, you're going to confirm what we say because of our close-knit relationship. You know, we're going to back up what the media says, and the media is going to back up what we say when there's no truth behind it whatsoever. And all of us are paying for it day after day after day. We're paying for it. We're paying for not paying attention, for not seeing through the bullshit lies, okay? Because they knew that as soon as he was in office, that things were going to change. It all boiled down to they knew what he was going to do if he won. And look at what happened. Look at what happened. Our lives have become miserable cesspools of bullshit. You know, and the only way that we can change that is to clean them all out. Clean them all out. Get rid of this beast system that has been sucking us dry since the late 80s. Okay, because let me tell you, the early 80s was a great life. The 70s were a great time. We were still slaves. We didn't know it. We didn't know what we know now. Okay, with everything that we have learned in the last 7 years together, guys, there is so much there. But the fact of the matter is this, these people that I find very valuable in my life, okay, friendship wise, okay, and I'm not talking because they can do things and everything else, okay, because they can do things for me or anything like that. It's because of the quality time that we used to be able to spend together, those conversations, those eye-opening moments, and seeing beauty every day side by side as friends, okay, and sharing our views on that beauty, and it's like, so when I'm listening to this woman, it's taking me back to the time where everybody that I was talking to back then hated Trump. They hated Trump. They hated Trump. They hated Trump. Did you hear he did this? Did you hear he did this? Did you hear he did this? But the thing is it, the first thing that I knew was about the wrap-up smear. Okay. And if I can find that video, I will play that. Okay. And she talks about it. She talks about exactly how they set every single one of these situations up, how they arrange it with the news in order to corroborate the story between what's going on the political scene and what's going on in the media scene, all coincide, all intertwine. And now that people are doing their own research and finding out, wow, all these things that they said about him weren't true. Okay. And frankly, there's one thing that I have to agree with. I totally have to agree with. Somebody says, well, grab him by the pussy. Okay. Well, the thing is nowadays you have no idea what's down there. I'd be checking too. I want to know. Because I'm not going to invest time in a relationship if you got sausage hanging down there when there's supposed to be a taco. Just not going to happen. I just went on a rant, didn't I? All right, back to it.
Did not hear election interference, because if they would have heard election interference, they would have said so in that call. Not one person in that phone call said, wait a minute, Mr. President, we believe what you're asking us to do is unethical and illegal. They sat there for a whole hour and entertained the discussion. And not one person, not one of those lawyers on the state of Georgia's behalf spoke up and said that they felt that you were interfering with the election. Okay, so let me just address that before I go any further. I did not hear election interference, and I know a host of other people who didn't hear it either. Okay, the stuff that these people are doing to you, this is ridiculous. If anybody is interfering with the election, it is them. And I am convinced that they did do something illegally in that last election. Because when I see the extreme that they're going to try to incarcerate you and to try to stop you from going on the campaign trail, I'm convinced that they did interfere in that election. I believe that they did interfere in some way with those votes in Georgia. I believe it, because I'm looking at all of the other stuff that they're doing now. And yes, I don't have confidence in any of the people on the Democrat side. I don't trust them. And I do believe that they did manipulate those votes in some way. So I just want to let you know, I am on your side about that. I do believe that they did in some way, they interfered in that election in 2000. And what year was it? I don't even know. 2020, right? I want to just say that. Also, another thing I want to mention to you, I believe with all my heart that the people who are the ringleaders of this negativity are Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton. I believe, and this is just what I believe with all my heart, I believe that these are the two people who conspired and spearheaded this whole ordeal. I do believe that President Joe Biden is also a part of it. I believe that. I believe that Chuck Schumer is a part of it. I believe that they all conspired against you. And of course, they've got the credentials. Most of these people are lawyers. They know constitutional law. They know how to get you. And I believe that they conspired against you because, again, you're a threat. Okay. But one thing that I also believe, and this is what I really stopped by to tell you today, I believe that no weapon formed against you is going to prosper. I don't care what kind of case they come up with, what kind of plot or scheme they throw at you, it will not work. When I look at you and what you're going through, you remind me of the children of Israel. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with their story or not, but back in Exodus, there's a point in the journey of the children of Israel where they're in Egypt at no fault of their own. And the king recognized, hey, these people are more and mightier than we are. We got to get rid of them. They mistreated them. They were oppressed and they were enslaved in Egypt. But the Bible let us know that the more they afflicted the children of Israel, the mightier they became. And so when I look at you, President Trump, I see the same thing. I see a lot of affliction. I know it doesn't feel good. And Lord knows, I know that right now you probably feel like I can't wait until this is over. But I want to assure you that God uses afflictions for so many different reasons. And it's not always what it looks like. In some way, I believe God is going to deliver you from all of these afflictions. I believe that you're going to come out mightier and stronger, just like the children of Israel. I really believe that God has big plans for you. And I do believe that he is aware of what they're doing. He knows that they are abusing their power. And let me just stop and address that. For every single person, every prosecutor, Letitia James, Fonnie Willis, Alvin, I don't know, Braggs or whatever his name is, all of these prosecutors who plotted against you and they know that they're abusing their power, they are not going to prosper. In some way, God is going.
Now, I didn't end that. She did. All right. But I want to bring this over. All right. And this is what I'm talking about. Okay. And I knew this back when I used to have my conversations with my friends. Okay. About the fact that I support Donald Trump and there's nothing that anybody's going to do to change my mind. Okay. This is on C-SPAN. Okay. Get this? C-SPAN. Okay. This is on a legitimate news site. Let's listen to what she says.
A negative ad.
Is it worth it to try and, I guess, like rehab your image in some of these Republican districts or to sort of present what you've done, or are you guys more focused on just the
Well, people say to me all the time, you raise more money than anybody. Maybe not the Obamas and the Clintons, but I've not run for president. Why don't you spend some of your money on yourself? Go out there and say what you did, this, and this. But, it's just not, maybe I should, but the fact is, what I want to do is have these members present themselves. Because basically, at the end of the day, that's what people are interested in, their representative and what their representative is going to do for their district. The Republicans are afraid of that contrast in a race because they're going to go there to be involved in trickle-down economics, shutting down hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast, so they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. if you want to talk politics, call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But I think I'm worth the trouble, quite frankly. I love the fray.
This woman belongs in prison. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. She just told you exactly what they did. She just told you exactly what they did. They told you a whole bunch of lies. They merchandised it. They gave it to the press, and then the press corroborated what the politicians said, and then the politicians could use the news articles in order to verify and villainize an individual. Yeah. People need to wake up. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is perfect in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Not one bit. That's not my place to judge that person. Okay? But when the people go out and they tell you the truth about what they're doing, and you continue to believe anything that comes out of their mouths, then you yourselves become complicit. And I'm not going to let anybody put me in that position. I'm not. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow somebody to put me in a position where I have to choose between this person and this person based upon a bunch of lies that are out there because they knew what was going to happen if he got into office. I knew what was going on. All right. Amuse says corruption. U.S. Representative Keating.
President Trump, my name is Rhonda Rochelle Richardson.
Handed Zelensky a list of members of Congress who voted for the $61 billion payment to Ukraine. Why would the president of a foreign power need a list of names of politicians who sent him billions?
Hello, sir. Bill Keating from Massachusetts. And I have something that you're really going to like.
Yeah.
This is the official tally of the vote.
Yes, I see.
For the supplemental aid.
Yes.
And look at that vote. 73%.
Yes. Thank you so much. 73.
That's a good vote.
Good, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
He's got all their names so he can send them a kickback. Oh, but a lot of people don't want to believe that happens. How does somebody go from being worth less than $1 million when they go into office, but come out 20, 30 million, 40 million, 100? Pelosi's at 270 million. When she went into office, she was worth $750,000. They get paid they were at the time that she went in, was getting paid $100,000. Now they're getting paid anywhere from $175,000 to $225,000 a year. Okay. But, okay, if you take those four salaries and you add them up, it still doesn't equal $11 million in 4 years. It doesn't. In 4 years, it would equal $1 million. So how is this woman who's made a career out of being in Washington, D.C., made millions, and we're talking $270 million that she is worth now, when she went into office weighing or only being worth $750,000? Yep. All right. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says it's baffling hearing the establishment complain that it's too much drama, too hard, and too risky to go through another speaker race. Meanwhile, Americans are getting kicked in the teeth from the ridiculous drama inflicted on them from the pathetic politicians in Washington. You know what Americans think is hard? Paying their bills. You know what American thinks is risky? Doing absolutely nothing but pass messaging bills about the daily deadly border invasion. Complete surrender is not acceptable and will not be tolerated. And she's right. We're not going to tolerate it. We're done with it, you know? So it's not just happening here in America, okay? The new Australian Prime Minister going after Elon Musk accidentally admits X platform is the only truthful one. Despite cyber regulations demanding the removal of posts on X, Elon Musk refuses to bend to their demands, stating it is absurd for any one country to attempt to censor the entire world. Other platforms censor their users and remove the content. X is the only one for free speech. Here we go.
By and large, people responded appropriately to the calls by the E-Safety Commissioner. X chose not to. They stand, I think, I find it extraordinary that X chose not to comply and are trying to argue their case. We know, I think, overwhelmingly Australians want misinformation and disinformation to stop. By and large.
Yeah. So the thing is if the government's not telling you, then it's not true. I'm sorry, but if the government, if a member of the government has their mouth open, the only thing coming out of their mouths is a lie. Period. Sorry. Don't like it? Well, sorry, but if you can't handle the truth, you might not want to be here. All right. Election fraud breaking. Explosive new documents have exposed a secret meeting organized by Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, that involved several power players, including officials from Dominion Voting Systems and the FBI, to discuss the 2020 presidential election with private companies and Democratic groups. Report: Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide. Data analysis finds 221,000 Pennsylvania votes switched from Donald Trump, President Trump, to Biden. 941,000 Trump votes deleted. States using Dominion voting system switched 435,000 votes from Trump to Biden. And we watched that happen in real time. I tried to tell my friends that, and they didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it. But all of it's coming out now. All of it's coming out now. Oh yeah. You know, why would Trump prosecutor Matthew Colangelo leave the number 3 spot in Biden's DOJ? Okay. A guy who works for the Biden Department of Justice leave that job for a lower level job in DA Bragg's office. This is a coordinated Biden trial to take down his top political opponent. 100% factual. 100% factual.
Points. Who was leading the opening statement today against the president?
Matthew Colangelo, who used to be the number 3 under Merrick Garland at the Department of Justice. He left that cushy job at the Department of Justice to go be a line prosecutor in a city office. That shows how coordinated this is. It's not just him. In fact, there was a law firm here in New York City that's known as a Democrat law firm that handed over a few of its attorneys to help bring charges against Donald Trump. This is part of a widespread and coordinated effort, and I think everyone kind of knows it. But it is really interesting.
Points. Who was leading?
So why would this guy go from a guaranteed almost $500,000 a year down to $100,000 a year? Why? Because he was sent there. It's called lawfare. Yep. Breaking now. Police have been ordered to move in and arrest protesting students and facility at NYU encampment for Gaza. So you see them all marching in.
Y'all ready to beat up on some kids, huh? You get the
Okay. Now, you all know my opinion of the police because I believe that, you know, a lot of those organizations are 100%, well, just a whole bunch of bullshit. A whole bunch of bullshit. Okay. That have been protecting these pedophiles for a very, very long time, you know, and it's kind of crazy. All right. George Kelly freed today after a mistrial ruled in his alleged shooting death of an illegal on his property in Arizona. It is what it is, he says.
I want to say one thing to everybody, okay? One thing. Hey, let this guy in there. You ready? It is what it is, and it will be what it will be. Let me go home, okay? All right with y'all? It's what it is, and it will be what it will be. I will keep fighting forever. I won't stop.
Ahí escucharon las palabras del señor Cole, que ya no quiso dar más declaraciones, pero básicamente dijo que el resultado es lo que es y será lo que tendrá que ser, pero que él no va a ser convencido en esta lucha. Estamos hablando nuevamente de que estamos hablando.
Yep. It is what it is. It will be what it will be. You know, yep. So ahead of Biden's visit to Tampa, Florida today, the pro-Hamas riots in Tampa got so out of control that the bomb squad was called to the scene. Palestinians and their terrorist supporters are a massive national security risk to our country. These people are jihadists. And basically, they had to pull out the bomb squad. Okay, so they want to talk about the KKK, but they belong to the party that created the KKK. These are the same people who were out doing the Black Lives Matter and the Antifa marches and everything else. The exact same people. They just changed clothes. That's it. That's it. That's all they are. Bomb squad. And there's a bunch of them there. Kind of crazy. You know. All right. Metropolitan Police deployed in full riot gear to stop a march of English people waving English flags as they celebrate St. George's Day. Contrastingly, riot police have never seen being deployed for any of the pro-Hamas hate marches. Yeah.
What's up, man?
We'll be covering a little bit more of that. Carrie Lake is attacked relentlessly because she will not fall in line and take a knee to the establishment. They cannot allow her to be elected because, unlike the elites in both parties, she does not despise the people. She also means what she says, which they don't allow. Here we go.
Carrie, you were a longtime news anchor, member of the media. You see the lies, right, that the left spews. They spew it every day about President Trump, that he wants to be a dictator. They purposely edit a soundbite, and they leave out the part where he says, yeah, I want to be a dictator. I want to drill, drill, drill. I want to secure the border. And then, of course, they prop up people like Hillary Clinton. And here she is in another desperate attempt to stay relevant. She was on a podcast with Democrat election lawyer Mark Elias yesterday. I want you to take a listen to this.
We haven't talked much about the international arena, but, his bromance with Putin, and it was actually called that, I think, by the former Prime Minister of Australia, who said he saw Trump with Putin, and Trump was like, just gaga over Putin. Because Putin does what he would like to do, kill his opposition, imprison his opposition, drive, journalists and others into exile, rule without any check or balance. That's what Trump really wants.
Carrie.
Oh boy. Oh, that's really rich coming from a woman like Hillary Clinton, how many of her friends have just like mysteriously died or committed suicide? I mean, honestly, and that's rich of her. What President Trump wants is to root out the corruption and deliver our government back to we the people. And she looks very nervous. She talked about her friend Mark Elias. Mark Elias has meddled and his cohorts have meddled in the elections. They continue to meddle in the elections in Arizona. The Soros attorneys, they know they can't win on their policies because their policies, the Democrat policies, are destructive, deadly, and frankly, in some ways, diabolical. And so they know they can't win on that, and they have to try every other measure to try to control the government. And it's almost comical that Hillary Clinton is talking about Trump wanting to kill his opponents. I just want to say, as I'm speaking about this topic, I want everyone out there to know that my brakes on my car have recently been checked and they work. I'm not suicidal. And Hillary, I don't mean any harm to you. Please don't send your henchmen out to me. We understand what you're about, and we know what President Trump wants to do.
And now that she said that, now she's got to watch her back. Crazy, huh? Yeah. Wait till people get a real load of what Hillary Clinton really was about. And wait till they get a load of frazzle drip. Yeah. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt bad. Yeah. So many people trusted that woman. And when they find out what she's been doing to children all these years, what she did in Haiti, what her and Bill did in Haiti to those children, oh boy, I'm telling you, people don't get it. People don't get it. I do. Yep. Steve says, bam, President Trump is not backing down. Donald Trump says, highly conflicted, to put it mildly. Judge Juan Merchan has taken away my constitutional right to free speech. Everybody is allowed to talk and lie about me, but I am not allowed to defend myself. This is a kangaroo court, and the judge should recuse himself. And yes, he could. Yes, he should recuse himself because his daughter, the judge's daughter, is making money off of this trial, posting for all the Democratic politicians. She gets 10% of everything. 10%. Yeah. Yep. All right. New audio reveals suspected government operative James Ray Epps repeatedly lied to the Federal Bureau of Investigations in a never-before-released interview with the Bureau obtained by the Gateway Pundit. Lying to the FBI is a crime punishable by up to 8 years in prison. Mm-hmm.
He's a paid educator, and we won't get to the bottom of it.
And then we were listening to the speech, and I noticed a lot of people heading that way.
He just went to D.C. to defend Trump and to attend the speech on a last-minute thing with his son to attend Trump's speech on election fraud. The only thing is, Epps didn't attend the speech. Epps travels all the way from Arizona to D.C., this big Trump supporter, and he doesn't even attend the speech. Instead, he fixates on this bizarre mission to get everyone to go in the Capitol.
So this is what I try to do. I mean, I tried to calm him down. And the next morning we went down to the Capitol, or not the Capitol, the place where the president was going to speak. And we listened.
President Trump took the microphone at 12:01 p.m. Trump won't be finished speaking at the ellipse for another 40 minutes. During this time, a man named Ray Epps was filmed on the streets, directing the crowd to the Capitol building.
As soon as President Trump is finished speaking, we are going to the Capitol. It's that direction. That's where our true problems lie. President Trump is done speaking. We are going to the Capitol. That's
And then we spread the word. And then I saw the people walk by. So I caught up to them and we started going up there.
Because he was not with the Sultan. He was alleged to be alone, so who the hell does he mean by we?
Yep. Epps is going to be in big trouble by the end of this. Okay. Sorry. I had to wash down that piece of muffin that I was eating. This guy's a legend. You may have never heard of him. I have.
In 1968, Dick Prenneke built a log cabin in the Alaskan wilderness with no power tools. He lived there alone for 30 years. During that time, he befriended the animals, hiked thousands of miles, fished and foraged for food, rescued a baby caribou, fended off a grizzly bear, picked up trash left by others, braved winter temperatures as low as 50 degrees below zero, and survived an airplane crash. And he filmed himself doing it all 3 decades before YouTube and Instagram even existed. By any measure, Dick Prenneke was a total badass. Show Dick some respect. In 19...
What people do at an individual level, turning up like this, being here, sharing, because if it wasn't for all of you, he wouldn't be free today, which I hope he will be. If it wasn't for all of you scrutinising, this wouldn't happen, because they would just get away with it. So all of you really matter. We all need you to keep spreading the word.
We do.
That will save.
We do. This is going out to a rock solid group. We've got, you know what I mean, but it's all
But it's the diligence of Tommy's supporters. Whether you agree with Tommy or not, like him or not, it doesn't matter one bit. The point is that everybody's eyeballs, everybody that's just watching helps, because you're watching the levels of persecution that he faces, forging documents. Clearly, I would all go unnoticed if it wasn't for you guys and the people that are here to help watch. And that's really the message. This is a positive day. It's St. George's Day. It's our day. And I think Tommy always goes to prove that it doesn't matter what they do to him. He will never lie down. He will never stop. He will never stop. What Tommy? So he will keep going always. And that's something you can rely on, a decent Brit. And you can always rely on Tommy Robinson. Thank you. All right, lads. Daily meal. How's your dyslexia? Have you got the ones that can read and write today? I'm epileptic. Does that count? I don't know.
She is absolutely one funny lady, no doubt about that. She does some stuff. Outside the Matrix says, did he almost slip up? I think so. General Flynn, who's really perpetrating the PSYOP? Oh, let's take a watch. What the heck's going on? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see if we can pull it up this way.
That we have been that have been imposed upon us, operations that we have been that have been imposed upon us, operations that we have been.
I don't need to go any further than that. Okay, these operations that we have been that have been imposed upon us. Yeah, you change what you're saying mid-sentence. I don't trust this man as, not one fucking bit. Not one bit. And, people are going to find out about you. They are going to find out about you, and they're not going to, and you're definitely not going to be happy about it. So, two-tier policing. Metropolitan Police just deploy police horses after deliberately kettling and cornering a group of English patriots waving English flags, attempting to stop their march. This scuffle then ensues, with police labeling these celebrating St. George Day as far right. Yeah.
Kick it off. Here we go. Kick it off. Police also in. Kick it off.
Yeah. Funny how that works out, right? Yeah. Breaking news, the federal agency of DHS Gov and ICE Gov are now fast-tracking the work permit for illegal aliens by documenting their facial photography at the border just days of entering America. Yeah. Just ridiculous. Sit Rep Australia sucks ass and hates free speech, calls for Elon Musk to be jailed. What's going on? In the last 24 hours, Elon Musk has been fighting off tyrants of Australia trying to censor information outside of his own borders. Here we go.
Elon Musk has no social conscience or conscience whatsoever. I don't know, whatever Elon Musk is on, it says that that's okay to continue to air that is absolutely disgusting behaviour. And quite frankly, the bloke should be jailed. And the sooner that we can bring rules in or do something about this sort of game playing with our social media, the better off we're going to be. But quite frankly, the power that man has, because of that platform that he's on, it's got to stop. It has absolutely got to stop. Elon Musk has no...
Chris, we've had him on this program, has submitted a notice of appeal against the e-safety commissioner in this country, Julie Inman Grant, over her takedown order for his post where he supposedly misgendered a trans activist. Tell me the latest with this case. It's a fascinating one. It's one that got international attention. People were shocked that this was happening in Australia, and you would think the e-safety commissioner would have bigger priorities, I don't know, child exploitation for one, than to bring down posts on X.
Yeah, that's right. Look, there is a serious issue with the exposure of children to, graphic and obscene content, and it needs to be dealt with. The problem that you've got here with this e-safety commissioner, she's an activist.
Absolutely.
She will continue to expand her role to police the internet, to censor debate in a way that's consistent with her own ideological views. We're just talking about the EPA. It's the exact same problem. You have these unelected bureaucrats that have vague powers, and they will fill it with their views. And she has a track record of censorship, and it only ever targets one side. And unfortunately, we're seeing that happen again.
And let's not forget, we've mentioned it before on this program, she was appointed by the coalition government. This isn't some Labor appointment. This is an example of the coalition wasting power. You do wonder why, what's the point of voting for them?
Well,
they kind of just appoint lefties to run the bureaucracy.
And also the misinformation and disinformation laws that started under Paul Fletcher when he was communicating. Now, this government's gone way further, but they permitted it through allowing it to go as far as it did.
Interesting, huh?
It just shows his arrogance, really. Like, if he doesn't see that this is essentially a common sense position by the e-safety commissioner. The e-safety commissioner was established under the former government. We've quadrupled the funding. We want to make sure that those young minds, such as at that school, are not darkened by this sort of material. This is an egotist. He is someone who's totally out of touch with the values that Australian families have. And this is causing great distress. I think it is causing damage to his own brand of Twitter, which has now become X. He clearly sees this as a vanity project for himself.
What this guy is mad about is there were a bunch of memes made of him. and I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. Yeah. Mike Davis on Trump. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
This is a malicious prosecution. It's part of a criminal conspiracy by these Biden Democrats to violate Trump and so many others' civil rights, to interfere in the election because they fear American voters on November 5th, 2024. They know Trump is beating Biden like a drum, according to all polling. And they see polling that suggests if they win one of these criminal convictions against Trump, that Biden could beat Trump. And I would say this is going to backfire spectacularly on the Democrats, as we've been talking about, predicting for 20 months now, Steve, since the Mar-a-Lago raid. This is obviously coordinated Democrat lawfare and election interference. Again, Colangelo came from the Biden Justice Department for this one. Jonathan Sue, Biden's deputy White House counsel, waived Trump's claim of constitutional executive privilege going back 250 years to George Washington on behalf of Joe Biden that led to the Mar-a-Lago raid and Jack Smith's 2 indictments, one for presidential records he's allowed to have under the Presidential Records Act and one for the January 6th nonsense. Also, Fannie Willis, big Fannie Willis down in Fulton County, Georgia, hired her dumb, unqualified boyfriend, Nathan Wade, who actually was dumb enough to put in billing records his meetings where he billed 16 hours of his time, $250 an hour, to meet with the Biden White House, including the Biden White House counsel, before they brought their January 6th indictment for the non-crime of objecting to a presidential election, which is allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887 and the First Amendment. That's why Democrats aren't in jail for objecting to Republican wins in 1968, 2000, 2004, and 2016. Joe Biden's fingerprints are on all 4 of these unprecedented republic-ending criminal prosecutions of a former president and leading presidential candidate. What the hell are they going to do? Do they really think that this Democrat judge Juan Merchan and this Soros prosecutor Alvin Bragg and this Biden senior political operative Matthew Colangelo, do they really think that the American people are going to accept that you just put the leading presidential candidate in prison instead of face him on November 5th, like we're Zimbabwe? And that's going to fly with the American people. You're going to turn President Trump into a legend. You're going to turn him into Nelson Mandela. He is going to win by a landslide.
Yep. Even if he goes to jail, I'm still voting for him. Damn right. Yep. So, guy says, I wore my Trump 2024 cowboy hat and an Unborn Lives Matter shirt today. I went to Jimmy John's. Oh, and this is what happened.
All right, guys. So I went to Jimmy John's today to order a sandwich wearing my cowboy Trump hat as well as my Unborn Lives Matter shirt. And this guy, my cashier, look what he wrote on my sandwich. Abortion is healthcare. F Donald Trump. So to be honest, number one, I don't feel comfortable eating this anymore. So Jimmy John's, the company, is this appropriate for your employees to be this political, that they can write political slogans on food? To me, that's crazy. You know, I'm a customer in public. Employees of a corporation should not be doing this to their customers, because this sandwich is now going to go in the garbage, and I'm going to request a refund because I'm not eating it.
And I would recommend boycotting Jimmy John's until they make a public statement about it, is what I would recommend. Absolutely. Let's see. Ron Paul trashes Mike Johnson in stunning new monologue. Let's take a listen.
When future historians go searching for the final nail in the U.S. coffin, they may well settle on the date April 20th, 2024. On that day, Congress passed legislation to fund 2.5 wars hand what's left of our privacy over to the CIA and the NSA, and give the US president the power to shut down whatever part of the internet he disagrees with. The US and its allies have already sent over $300 billion to Ukraine, and the country is still losing its war with Russia. Nobody believes another $60 billion will pull a victory from the jaws of defeat. But this additional money is meant to keep up appearances until November at the expense of Americans who are forced to pay for it and Ukrainians who are forced to die for it. Speaker Johnson could not have passed these monstrosities without the full support of House Democrats. And as the majority of Republicans voted against more money for Ukraine. So in the worst example of bipartisanship, Johnson reached across the aisle, stiffed the Republican majority that elected him Speaker, and pushed through a massive gift to the warfare corporate welfare state. After the House voted to send another $60 billion to notoriously corrupt Ukraine, members waved Ukrainian flags on the House floor and chanted, "Ukraine, Ukraine." While I find it's distasteful and disgusting, in some ways it seemed fitting. Not to be outdone, the U.S. Senate on that same day passed the extension of Section 702 of the FISA Act, which not only allowed the government to continue spying on us without a warrant, but also contained new language massively expanding how they can spy on us. Many conservative voters are asking, what's the point of Republican control of the House is if the agenda is determined by Democrats? Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is reported to have bragged to his colleagues about how easily Speaker Johnson gave Democrats everything they wanted and asked for nothing in return.
Yep, it's becoming all too clear. So they were looking to give anyone, a kicking. They got their wish.
Hey, we're watching that! Hey, we're watching that! I can see them punching again! I can see them punching! Stay back! Hey, pay attention to what your officers... Hey, can you... alone!
These Metropolitans are going to be getting some. I'm telling you, the Bobbies are not going to be doing well by the end of this. Yep. All right. Wall Street Silver says we spent $13 billion in Los Angeles alone last year to combat homelessness. You want to know where that money went? That money went to the trash nonprofits who have a bunch of executives making $500,000 a year.
We spent $13 billion in Los Angeles alone last year to combat homelessness. You want to know where that money went? That money went to these trash nonprofits who have a bunch of executives making $500,000 a year. You're working for a nonprofit dealing with homelessness. That's my money. That's my parents' money. That is the hard-working people of California paying incredibly high taxes that go to what? So yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And honestly, just experiencing what I've seen on the ground in California has made me question a lot about. We spent 30.
Yep. Same thing in Oregon. It's the same thing. It's all these NGOs, nonprofits, everything else that this money, that the Oregonians' money goes to, and it never goes to where it belongs. So that's why Oregon has the second highest street population that there is. Yeah. Herman looks rattled. And if you don't know who Herman is, well, just so you know, this Rachel Maddow down here is a dude. That's not a chick. That's a dude. If you don't know yet, you research it. That's a guy, not a girl.
In the courtroom, it's, President Trump's back is to all of us who are sitting as observers in the courtroom. There are monitors that are mounted in the courtroom where we can see a forward-facing view from him, but it's a little occluded. So it may be the people in the overflow room who were looking right at those monitors might have had a better look. But from where I was sitting, he seemed basically inert. He kind of slumped his shoulders and was I'm a slump-shouldered person. He was kind of slump-shouldered like this when he came in and while he was sitting there. At times when Mr. Pecker was testifying, I noted that he was kind of leaning heavily on the desk. There were times when he leaned from one side to the other, but I just didn't see him as particularly animated. Again, I may not have been in the best position to observe that closely. I've seen him in person in my life a few times. I would say seeing him go up and down the aisle. I was sitting on the aisle, seeing him walk right past me in the aisle, in and out of the courtroom several times, including the recess. I would say that he seems thinner than I have seen him in the past. He seems considerably older, and he seems annoyed, resigned, maybe angry. He seems like a man who's miserable to be here. And again, that's, I'm no body language expert, and this is just my observation, but he seemed old and tired and mad.
Mr. Pecker, when Mr. Pecker was testifying. Yeah. All right. Today is the first time in history that opening remarks were delivered in a criminal case against a former president. The remarks were delivered by Biden's former acting associate AG, who parachuted in from D.C. to Frankenstein, a personal matter with 34 felonies. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
In torture. Democrats used to be obsessed. During the war on terror, they talked about torture more than victory. Gitmo, the New York Times in 2000.
No, Debbie, you're correct. You're correct. If it's got an apple, it's got a banana. All right. Yeah.
2005 said, please, Mr. President, just shut it down. They told us it was immoral. Dick Durbin, he called American soldiers Nazis.
If I read this to you and didn't tell you that it was an FBI agent describing what Americans had done to prisoners in their control, you would most certainly believe this must have happened by Nazis, Soviets in their gulags, or some mad regime, Pol Pot or others, that had no concern for human beings. Sadly, that's not the case. This was the action of Americans in treatment of their own prisoners.
Terrorists were victimized by American Nazis. Obama even built them $1 million soccer field.
$1 million on a soccer field? How do you spend $1 million doing a soccer field? You have a level piece of land. Throw them a ball, let them play soccer, if they have to play at all. Why are they playing soccer is my question.
Democrats gave terrorists soccer fields, free lawyers, constitutional rights. Eric Holder's law firm flew down to Gitmo to represent al-Qaeda pro bono. Are you getting enough time to pray? Is the food halal? Were the guards mean to you? If you answer the judge's questions correctly, you'll be on your way back to Jalalabad. But today, the former president of the United States, if he leaves court to go to the restroom, jail. If he calls the prosecutor corrupt, jail. If Trump moves or says anything, they scream jail. Did Khalid Sheikh Mohammed get slapped with a gag order? Trump's not even allowed to complain about the thermostat. It's a meat locker in there. He gets mocked for just closing his eyes. Donald Trump, been on the move his whole life. Golf, rallies, movement, action, sunlight, fresh air, freedom. This isn't lawfare, it's torture. They're making a 77-year-old man sit inside a dingy room for 8 hours straight, 4 days a week. And if he moves or talks, jail. How do you campaign for president if you can't move or talk?
I should be in Georgia now. I should be in Florida now. I should be in a lot of different places right now campaigning, and I'm sitting here. And this will go on for a long time. It's very unfair. And I should be allowed to campaign. And whoever heard of this, you got indicted for that? People in the court just said to me, I can't believe it. This is the case.
Today was the first time in history opening remarks were delivered in a criminal case against a former president. And you're not going to believe who delivered the opening remarks for the prosecution. Joe Biden's former acting associate attorney general. Wait a second. The media says Joe Biden has nothing to do with these prosecutions. Well, the number 3 guy at the Biden Justice Department parachuted in from D.C. into Alvin Bragg's office, revised this dead case, and just gave the opening statement to the jury. Matt Colangelo left the Biden administration and Frankensteined the personal matter years ago into 34 felony counts. The DA, Alvin Bragg, isn't even prosecuting the case. Biden's prosecutors are the ones prosecuting it. He just shows up to court with donuts. He hasn't argued in front of the judge once. He's just running on Duncan. For the next 6 weeks, Trump's in a torture chamber while Biden's prosecutor puts on a show trial. The star witness has a podcast and gets to rip Trump a new one, but Trump's gagged.
He put out another post that attacked me. I'll tell you how I would act on it if I was the judge. I would turn around and I would say, Donald, grab your toothbrush, grab your hair, and report to 500 Pearl Street, the criminal court, because you're spending the night in the tombs downstairs. And you'll spend every day. We'll bring you up for the trial, but afterwards, you're not going back to your triplex. You're going downstairs to the pokey until you learn how to act like a human being. That's what I would do.
The star witness who went to prison for lying is torturing Trump and bossing the judge around. And if Trump says anything, jail. Stormy Daniels, porn star, who extorted Trump and owes him 600 G's in legal fees, and her attorney, Michael Avenatti, in prison for extortion. Everyone in this case is either a liar, a porn star, or an extortionist, or all of the above. They're the faces of a case that's never been tried before in the history of the United States. Their argument, are you ready, is that Trump should have used donor money to stop a woman from shaking him down and then file the ransom with the FEC. That's a great way of protecting your family. No one would ever find out. This wasn't campaign business. This was personal. Campaign finance law specifically states candidates cannot use campaign funds for an expense that would exist anyway, even if it benefits the campaign. His lawyer paid Stormy, and after the campaign was over, the money was reimbursed and booked as a legal expense. You can't use campaign funds for personal matters, and now you can't use personal funds for personal matters during a campaign? So I guess the real crime is that Trump ran for president and beat Hillary. Prosecutors are arguing that it's a felony to quiet rumors about your personal life. A lot of presidents have made tabloid rumors disappear. Bill Clinton had a war room combating bimbo eruptions. Senator Ted Kennedy settled a case with Mary Jo's family after he left her for dead in the waters of Chappaquiddick. Alvin Bragg's arguing that Senator Kennedy should have used campaign funds and filed it with the FEC. That's nonsense. That was personal. Biden's former prosecutor told the jury today that Trump was trying to influence his own election. Oh my gosh. Trump's defense attorney told the jury trying to influence the election is called democracy. There's nothing wrong with the non-disclosure agreement. Can you believe the Democrats still can't get over the 2016 election? It's now a crime to beat Hillary. The squad admitted it's political, saying, you know, if Trump had just been impeached, we wouldn't have had to put him in jail.
I go back to the responsibility of Congress here, because had the Senate actually gone through with the impeachment of Donald Trump, we would not be in this situation.
The situation the squad's talking about is Biden losing. Former President Donald Trump polling ahead of Biden on every major issue. Look at that. Looking back, voters remember the Trump term and stacked up against the Biden term. It's no contest. Voters should put aside all the chaos and just look at the Biden and Trump terms on paper. Gavin Newsom says the media is so hyper-focused on Trump, they're going to get him reelected again.
This is a guy that doesn't care if he is the hero or the heel. He just wants to be the star. And in so many ways, he gets what he wants. And that's the bright spotlight and focus. When we're focusing on him, I do worry electorally that he has a slight advantage. The consequential nature of a criminal trial is profound and outsized in some respect, but not more outsized than democracy, nor more outsized perhaps on what I thought was one of the biggest stories of the week, and that's Robert Kennedy Jr. getting on the ballot in Michigan. If he gets on more than just that one critical swing state of Michigan and gets on the ballot in some of these others, I think you have to take that very, very seriously.
Elections are won at the ballot box, not in the courtroom. But this year, Trump might win in both. So what do you do when you're down? Republicans are going to pull pregnant women over and make them pee on a stick.
We're almost there. You're going to make it.
Trump Republicans want to criminalize young Alabama women who travel for reproductive care.
Miss, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle, take a pregnancy test.
Stop them.
And once you have them scared, bring in Hollywood to help sell it.
The people that I've talked to and everybody that I have say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine. We all have an issue with memories. As we get older, we forget names, something. He's overcome a stutter in his life, and sometimes he might. But let's just say that his entire cabinet, including his vice president, everybody in his cabinet, would be more than happy to work with him again in the next term.
All these people who meet Biden privately keep saying he's sharp as a tack. Weird, right? Because he doesn't act sharp in public. It's like the same thing they said about Hillary. Behind the scenes, she's so funny. She's so loose and relatable. They trotted out another actor to sell you that Trump hates blacks.
When we protested the killing of George Floyd, he was advocating for the military to shoot us in the streets. He's made it clear throughout his life that he believes black people are inferior. Like he believes that to his core, in his bones. When you hear some of the stray comments he makes, he clearly believes in a genetic hierarchy of humanity and is racially determined. So he is a tried and true, like dyed-in-the-wool racist.
They're trying to sell you a script that they wrote but doesn't exist. Black women are diving into Trump's arms at Chick-fil-A, John Legend. Have you seen that one? Or John, have you seen Biden say black cannibals ate his uncle? I mean, that's someone who believes in a genetic hierarchy. That's not someone who's that sharp.
Yep, all these stories that just keep coming. Sir Oliver Pollock says, Trump cards incoming. U1, Uranium 1, that's what U1 is. 1807, Vatican, Snow White, Alice in Wonderland, Godfather 3. 11 a.m. 17-second mark posted on True Social, drop number 11. 46 words, all caps, drop 46. And he kind of goes through all of this. And yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now, just because we could bury ourselves in queue big time. All right. All right. I'm trying to watch the clock here at the same time. Okay. That's where we were before. Let's see here. There's a few up here that I want to show. This is the New York City mayor, Eric Adams, on a flight back from Miami.
Are you Eric Adams? Yeah, fuck you! You support the genocide in Palestine. There are homeless people all over New York. You're always partying. You don't actually care about the citizens of New York. Why are you even in Miami? You know there are people being arrested there. People are homeless in New York. People cannot afford food. You keep cutting the education budget so you can fund the police. That's all you care about, funding the police. Everything is underfunded because of you.
Yep. it's going to get to the point where they can't walk down the street. Yep. All right. Let's see here. I'm looking to see if there was anything else that was important here. Oh, actually, I thought that this one was good. Black pastor destroys woke reporter, and about Trump and the Democrats. Here we go.
Say it's a cult. It's a cult of personality, you know?
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that before, but always.
I have people here, Pastor, who are saying to me that they would take a bullet for Donald Trump. He's not the president. He's not, you know, that's unusual. You don't hear that a lot.
This is what has happened. All of the atrocities, the calamities, the whole debacle at the border, everything now is causing people to awaken to what America is really all about. So this awakening now is taking on personal interests. So every community now is saying, I got something to lose in this if we don't stand together. And so that's what we're seeing. When a person says that, that's a personal interest. He's saying, yeah, and you know, everybody's not willing to die for anybody. But there are some who will say it's that cause right now. That's what Patrick Henry said. Give me liberty or give me death. And now that we're hearing it again, it sounds to some foreign, but this is in the roots of this country. This is what America's all about. These men came from farmers and business people, and most of them were just wanting things to be better, who fought for this nation back in 1776.
You're talking about awakening. Part of awakening is woke, right? People talking about woke. What does that mean to you? What does the word woke mean?
Well, woke is a false idea of awakening. It does everything opposite of awakening, which is a revival, which comes from a spiritual stirring of one's consciousness. And so if you have a lot of dirt, you know, in your mind, a lot of diluted or polluted things, what a revival does is shake the trees again so that now you can begin to see clearly. But what woke does, woke gives a false assimilation of action. Okay, I'm woke. Well, and it doesn't give action.
Define it. What is woke?
It tells you what cannot work, what will not work in a people of community.
Right, but tell me what it is, though.
If I say I'm a man, and then I say all of a sudden I identify as a woman, that's woke. That's it gives demonstration of the total opposite of freedom, liberty, consciousness, all of those things. Woke actually shuts down. So it pretends its eyes are open, but their eyes are really asleep. And so when a person says that illegal immigration is cool, that's woke.
Why is that woke?
It's woke because we know a nation cannot survive off of bringing lottie-dottie, I'm being crazy now, but lottie-dottie and everybody into the country. A nation cannot remain sovereign if it keeps its borders open. And why do we expect America to do it when all these other nations, other places, close and shut their borders?
Isn't feeding you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, isn't that both a part of someone of the cloth as well as part of the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, but it's in the context of righteousness. A nation that is not lifted up, if it is exalted, it says righteousness exalts a nation. What does that mean? It means doing things right, or the right way, or God's way of doing things. But sin is a reproach to any people. So if I say, give me your poor, give me your foreign, you know, it was under the understanding of when you come in, you have to become us.
Okay, but who defines sin, right? I mean, for some people, it's a sin to build a wall and say you can't come over it. To some people, it's a sin to let that person in without checking their papers and giving them due process. I mean, who's to define it?
Well, I went to that class. God defines what sin is. And so as a Christian nation, a Christian Judeo nation, we cannot lose our roots in that, in understanding that the word of God is the infallible word of doctrine and truth.
But what if you're a Muslim in this country? What if you're an atheist? What if you're a Jew? What if you are Sikh or Hindu? You know, one's precepts of religion are different than yours, different than mine, different than hers.
Well, this is what I love about this nation. Our founding fathers put together what is called the U.S. Constitution, the First Amendment, the freedom of what? Religion. It did that without what? Wanting people to assimilate into a religion that controlled the people. And this nation was always designed to evangelize, even those that don't agree with us. And so disagreement does not mean disunity. It just means an opportunity for us to come together. That's why it's called a more perfect union. Our founding fathers knew, like Benjamin Franklin came out of the halls of Philly, Constitutional Hall, and the young lady asked him, what do we got here? He says, daughter, a republic if we can keep it. And so the Constitution was not written for immoral, unjust people. The Constitution was written for moral, spiritual people who could discern the times and the seasons through the word of God.
Wise words. Wise words. I kind of want to cover that, but I kind of don't, because I'm looking at the time now. And all right. So we're going to go ahead and jump over here, and I'm going to drop the and we know on you guys for today. Actually, we're going to start off with Brother Nathaniel, and then we'll get into and we know right afterwards. Here we go.
Democracy is like an auction. It's awarded to the highest bidder. All about the Benjamins through and through, and the self-chosen few who steam the political stew. Democracy is not the collective wisdom of the taxpayers, but the collective money of the self-chosen who write the scripts and select the players.
It's certainly been years, perhaps decades, since the Senate passed a bill that so greatly impacts not just our national security, not just the security of our allies, but the security of Western democracy.
He's talking about the $60 billion that Speaky Johnson just sent to Zelensky to pay for his luxury condo in Miami Beach. Trump gave teeny-weeny Speaky Johnson the green light to send more billions to Zelensky, billing it as a loan for the security of Western democracy. U.S. democracy, too, on par with a matching price, salaries, perks, company cars for the Kiev regime, stock options, too, with high yields for the entire Zelensky team. Really now, democracy is where the political crystallization of Jewish high finance and European policy meet. If democracy is then about distant shores, then the logical ticket is Zelensky for president and Bibsy for VP. I mean, since 1.8% of the population hovers over our entire democracy lair, why stop there?
Please welcome Chief Rabbi of South Africa, Rabbi Dr. Warren Goldstein.
I would like to invite an AIPAC delegation to visit South Africa. When you come, you will find a vibrant constitutional democracy with an independent judiciary and a fiercely critical free press.
A banana republic just like Jamaica, constitution discarded, democracy marshaled by the press, and a judiciary independent of any impartial process. My dear Goyish friends, democracy is not only like an auction, it's like the synagogue too, when you can worship money out of thin air, just like that. Dollars fall from the synagogue's roof right into Jewish laps. The devil's no chump. He rests one day a year. When Tuesday falls the first Monday of November, he celebrates Jewish triumph.
Now, this is the thing is he there's quite a few things there that he said that were 100% accurate. Is that America has fallen under this this spell. It really has, and I'm telling you, this awakening is going to be something that goes way bigger. All right, let's get in the last hour that I have. Let's go ahead and get in, and we know. Here we go.
Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand.
The things that we've done have been just incredible, and I couldn't have done it without you. So just a goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Listen
I want to thank all of the great people of Washington, D.C., all of the people that we worked with to put this miracle together. So have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, folks, there never seems to be a day without some type of exciting thing that unravels for all to see. We are understanding the play more each day, but we understand the enemy is still on the loose, and those who are asleep will still need to be sent to the precipice before they wake up to the evil that has been ruling over the United States and many other nations, actually, for decades. We will look into the gossip of the first arrests. A lot of folks are speculating on that, and we have a treat for you with a company that has real meat products, without all the junk inside, all those things that they try to add in there. You're going to be shocked and amazed. I did a quick interview, and you will definitely just love that, and hope you look forward to that too. The story in that product is absolutely amazing. I hope that you stand by. We've got a lot to uncover. Let's get into it. Well, folks, like I mentioned before, August 11th through 18th, 2024, this year, we're going to be having a cruise at sea with LT. And you can go in the description box below and actually click on the link and go check out the website that we have available for you. I mean, if you're looking at your screen right now, the view is absolutely stunning. I mean, we're going to be seeing glaciers, incredible wildlife, beautiful scenery. We are going to experience America's last frontier, glacial lakes, towering snow-capped mountains, rainforest, and rich vegetation, folks. It's going to be so beautiful. And we not only that, you get to hang out with fellow Ockers, and we know folks, and share your story with them, and walk out and say, look at this beautiful country, and basically kind of get away from all of the just day in and day out of the activities and the things that are just constantly put in front of us. And we're going to be aboard the Westerdam, Holland America line, Westerdam. And I was talking to my mom about this and sharing, and hey, kind of important that I get this out there and share that I've actually been on this Holland America, been on one of their cruises to kind of check it out to see what it was like. And it is wonderful. I've been on some different cruises, not a lot, but I've been on those where the kids are running around and screaming. And I've been in other ones where there's long lines and there's a lot of young folks screaming and yelling, partying, whatever. Folks, this is more very relaxing. And there's world stage, Rolling Stone lounges, fitness center, onboard shopping. And the shopping is amazing. The dining room is beautiful. And I'm telling you, we went out, my wife and I, to breakfast every morning. We sat down, I think, at 8 a.m. and we told them exactly what we wanted to order. Didn't have to pay for it. It was part of the whole thing. And they brought out our breakfast every morning. It was so beautiful. And then we had our dining room experience at night. And it's just beautiful. And you've got these wonderful rooms. They're just so spacious. Many of them, as I'm scrolling through, you can see the different parts of this particular boat, the Westerdam. And it's got all types of entertainment options. You'll have a flat screen TV with the programming in your rooms if you want to kind of get away. It's not very loud. Mini fridge. Balconies are partitioned. They can be opened upon request. And there's a safe in your room to lock up your stuff. And it's just a beautiful experience. And I haven't really talked about that at all. I just haven't brought it up, and I apologize. But folks, it is really just luxury living. Not only that, you're walking around when you walk out and you just keep running into the And We Know folks. And I just love you guys. And I know that every time somebody runs into another AWK fan, they just get excited and they share their story. And it's been beautiful to behold. And we're going to have great entertainment. And I just want to make sure I talk about this just for a few more seconds. Folks, we're going to be blessed with having a wonderful comedian, Tim Lovelace. We've seen him. He did a wonderful job. My wife and I just fell in love with him, and he prayed with us a couple of weeks ago, and it was just absolutely amazing, man. The Isaac's going to be there. You won't stop crying. You won't stop celebrating all the different styles of music that they have. Kirk Elliott. We've got some other special guests that I've actually interviewed, and some are in my book that just we'd say accidentally, but I believe God put us all together, and you're going to hear from them. And it's going to be one celebration after another as we go on this beautiful cruise together. I hope you check it out. We've got plenty of rooms now opened up. The cruise line opened many more rooms on the site, and you guys can go in there and check it out. And it's just, guys, we're gonna have a blast. This is gonna be great. So, anyway, enough on that. But I just want to make sure you can check that out now with a little bit of Communist News Network to help wake us up.
Well, I think that I walk a little similar to him, and the people that I've talked to and everybody that I have say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine. We all have an issue with memories. As we get older, we forget names. He's overcome a stutter in his life, and sometimes he might. But
and I don't want to.
That was Michael Douglas, Communist News Network, trying to explain to the sheep how everyone says that Biden is totally cognitively functional. You shouldn't believe your eyes and ears as Biden stumbles around, struggling to speak, talk, and function. Oh, and after he says that, this clip is played.
Well, maybe choose my words. There's been a response from there's been a response. Yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas.
And I think he'll be fine. Thank you very much. This is probably the most important election of my lifetime. I share with my kids through the Vietnam War. This is the most critical time in my lifetime, and I can remember where we're at right now. We need somebody in control, in power, who has some experience and knows how to work on a global situation. The world, you can't ask for one side for us to be active globally, but then internally say we're just going to isolate. It doesn't work that way anymore.
Oh, Michael Douglas. They just keep bringing these actors out to act. What a joke. What a joke. Why don't they just stay in their lane? Go back, memorize your lines, get behind the camera, and do what you do best. Ultra Peppy Lives Matter, as frustrating as it can be to watch the Uniparty be exposed in a fashion that has never, ever been seen. We have to look at some of the bright side of our lives as anonymous folks right now. We're almost through this entire 4-year precipice journey, right? They're getting just closer and closer to the edge where people are losing their minds. Truly a remarkable feat and emotional endurance for all of us, and I have to agree with that. The fact that we can still hold on to hope and that we are almost across another proverbial finish line speaks volumes about all of us. We've been through emotional anguish, but we are praying there is a resolution on the other side, ain't we all? Hope remains. God is still on the throne. America has not fallen despite its precipice. There are more awake than in the history of modern day. If we remember that the siphoning of America's wealth is not a new phenomenon, but rather decades and decades old, we are just more aware of it than ever before. That awakening outrage is fueling something in our world that will, I pray, bring about significant positive changes. Do not lose hope in the midst of this clown circus show. It's not over, folks. But the precipice Biden 4-year facade is nearing its end. Take solace in this fact. Our ability to witness remarkable levels of lies, psyops, and scumbags reveal their true colors is no small feat. Pat yourselves on the backs, give your emotional health to God. Only He can keep us stable in this chaotic time. Spiritual growth by leaps and bounds. Keep your eyes on the positives in the midst of the pain. We're almost through this chapter. And part of that, you guys remember the Ukraine flags being waved in the House. Well, President Trump actually doubled down on Mike Johnson after the foreign aid vote. Former President Trump showed his support for Mike Johnson as the House Speaker continues to face a threat to his gavel from GOP hardliners. And so, got a kind of a, just give my personal opinion on this one a little bit, okay? He met with President Trump. Trump gave him kind of a weird look, like he gives those that are troublemakers or whatever. But at the same time, that was before this Ukraine thing. And then sometimes you wonder when Mike Johnson said, I'm in the middle of a war, we're in the middle of a war, and it makes you wonder if sometimes they have to allow these things to play out in the public's eye so that everybody realizes we did at one time have a uniparty. Maybe it's not like that anymore, but they could be playing a role. Who knows? To bring us to the precipice, and anybody see the checks written or the money moved, the $95 billion. Will we see that money actually go into bank accounts and stuff like that? Or are they just doing this as something to wake up the masses? I don't know. Some people will get upset if I said something like that and say, no, it's not really like that. And it's real. And we can't trust these guys. I get it. I'm just telling you, sometimes the way we're seeing it play out, we have to just continue to wonder how this is all working. And so they get their opportunity. And of course, the blame from this guy goes to Tucker Carlson for why people are so upset that the money's going to Ukraine and others.
Ardent backers of Ukraine in the Senate here. But what took so long to get some of these other 8 Republicans persuaded to your position here? Was it the overall nature of this bill and what was lost in that time period for Ukraine?
Well, that's a good question. You already know the answer. I think the demonization of Ukraine began by Tucker Carlson, who, in my opinion, ended up where he should have been all along, which is interviewing Vladimir Putin. And so he had an enormous audience, which convinced a lot of rank and file Republicans that maybe this was a mistake.
Oh, so it's Tucker's fault. It's not the fault of the millions of people, I would say 30 to 40 million, who have for the past, since 2017, many 2018, came on board with many folks going out there sharing information on a board that started asking questions and getting us to dig and start researching into everything that's been going on with these characters for decades. It's not them. It's not all the folks that have been sharing on social media, working their butts off to get information out to us to find out that, hey, these biolabs seem to match up where Putin is actually going and blowing up biolabs that the United States had. Exposing all of the companies that Pelosi's got a relative that works there. John Kerry has a relative, I think a son that works there. Biden has Hunter that works there, and they're all getting payoffs. And Obama went over there to visit, and let's see, No Name went over there with Lindsey Graham to talk about the future of war, the warmongering. No. It's not all of the years, the blood, sweat, and tears of many Anons working hard to get the information out to people. Oh no, it's some guy that left Fox News, had a huge following, brought him with him, and all of a sudden it's his fault because he went over to talk to Putin. Yeah, nice try there, Mitch McConnell. Let's see. So we head into the world of the nervous new scum. He's kind of looking at RFK Jr. on the ballot in the key swing states. He looks like a psychopath, serial killer. Check this out.
So let me ask you about the electoral politics of this, as you just referenced. I mean, RFK Jr. is now going to be on the ballot in Michigan. That's a swing state. President needs to win. Anyone winning needs to win. Obviously, he just got the endorsement of a number of Kennedys this week, members of the Kennedy family. But how worried are you about the potential impact of RFK Jr. on President Biden's reelection chances?
He's a Kennedy. We revere Kennedys. At least I do. My hero is Bobby Kennedy. There's a bust, President Biden, right behind President Biden of Bobby Kennedy. That's real. I mean, it's real. And I know we can look at some polls and suggest, well, here it may impact a little less. But look, at the end of the day, common sense would dictate it's real. Jill Stein is real. Cornel West is real. We know that. Those were determinative, those third party in these last elections. 44,000 votes in those 3 swing states. Now we've got 7 potentially in play. Georgia and North Carolina, we know are going to be perhaps a little more tough than they've been in the past, but we're making a great case. Pennsylvania, the president's a masterclass of focus on Pennsylvania. And then we go to these other states like Wisconsin. I think we have a great shot there. And then these last 3, Michigan and the 2 that I'm referring to today, and that's Nevada and Arizona, where I'm putting all my time and energy and focus, and abortion, I think, will play an outsized role. But Bobby Kennedy Jr., if he gets on more than just that one critical swing state of Michigan and gets on the ballot in some of these others, I think you have to take that very, very seriously.
Oh, nervous about the swing states where they have to cheat constantly to make sure Biden wins the most votes of all time. There you go. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Gavin Newsom, saw this one. Just released a new ad saying Trump is going to order police to stop women crossing state lines and force them to take pregnancy tests. Take a look at this ad, or if you're listening in, you'll catch the grift of what's happening. As it looks like a mom's trying to get a daughter across the state line to take the baby out.
We're almost there. You're gonna make it.
Trump Republicans want to criminalize young Alabama women who travel for reproductive care.
Miss, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle, take a pregnancy test.
Stop them by taking action at righttotravel.org. Campaign for Democracy Group is responsible for the content of this advertising.
How about that? No, it's 2 young girls. It's not a mother and a daughter. Yeah, they're going to throw their scare tactics at everyone. And of course, there'll be maybe 1 million or 2 that fall for it. But you know what? They kind of losing on some ends when it comes to the legal battles. Judge smacks down Letitia James, rules in favor of Trump and fight over $175 million bond. Oh, yeah. And the FBI code name for Trump classified documents investigation revealed. Judge Aileen Cannon on Monday ordered key evidence in Jack Smith's classified documents case to be unredacted. The newly unredacted documents revealed Biden's White House had direct ties to the Mar-a-Lago raid. The Biden regime was also directly tied to Jack Smith's investigation, despite claims to the contrary from U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. The newly unredacted documents revealed the FBI code name for the investigation into presidential records stored at Mar-a-Lago was Plasmic Echo. Mishandling of classified or national defense information. Oh, and then Kash Patel. Hillary Clinton used publicly raised campaign funds and illegally masked them as lawyer fee to pay foreigners and American media misfits to produce the fake Steele dossier. Still waiting on that indictment, but charging real Donald Trump for using his own money for actual legal fees is the only crime the 2 tiers of justice will charge. Of course, Trump speaking as hush money trial wraps for the day.
But the point here is that the judge had no idea what was happening. And this is the same judge that 2 months ago made a ruling that shook the world. It shook the world because everyone knows going to that trial, I did nothing wrong. And over here, I did nothing wrong also. This is a Biden witch hunt to keep me off the campaign trail.
Yep. Biden witch hunt. That's correct. In the January 6th committee, Democrats say their fear They fear Trump will put them in jail. Yeah, they're in trouble. You can see that on their faces. These guys are so filled with evil. Santa Surfing, well, this is exactly why Trump's going through courtroom chaos. These dirty politicians fear jail. House Democrats who led an investigation into former President Donald Trump's role in the January 6th Capitol riot say they are worried. Oh, they better be. I have a funny feeling, folks, when this all is said and done, we're going to look back and say, boy, it took a while, but when it finally hit, the bombs started dropping and these folks started fleeing. And of course, remember the other day we brought up the thousands of everyday snacks that face being banned in multiple states because their ingredients are linked to cancer. Remember that? Flaming Hot Cheetos, Lucky Charms, and Gatorade. Guys, you know also that there's been all types of food products that we've been finding out that they stick them with jabs, with vaccines. Now, Chloe, just a wonderful, wonderful young lady. And she's going to explain to us a little bit about this product, and we'll continue. I've always loved like $34 billion combined with all the high-end universities. And they're basically turning these kids into socialists and Marxists and more. Well, President Trump came out with something recently with all the junk that's going on in our universities. And he had a message for us, and I think this is important.
For many years, tuition costs at colleges and universities have been exploding. And I mean absolutely exploding. While academics have been obsessed with indoctrinating America's youth. The time has come to reclaim our once great educational institutions from the radical left, and we will do that. Our secret weapon will be the college accreditation system. It's called accreditation for a reason. The accreditors are supposed to ensure that schools are not ripping off students and taxpayers, but they have failed totally. When I return to the White House, I will fire the radical left accreditors that have allowed our colleges to become dominated by Marxist maniacs and lunatics. We will then accept applications for new accreditors who will impose real standards on colleges once again and once and for all. These standards will include defending the American tradition and Western civilization, protecting free speech, eliminating wasteful administrative positions that drive up costs incredibly, removing all Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion bureaucrats, offering options for accelerated and low-cost degrees, providing meaningful job placement and career services, and implementing college entrance and exit exams to prove that students are actually learning and getting their money's worth. Furthermore, I will direct the Department of Justice to pursue federal civil rights cases against schools that continue to engage in racial discrimination and schools that persist in explicit, unlawful discrimination under the guise of equity will not only have their endowments taxed, but through budget reconciliation, I will advance a measure to have them fined up to the entire amount of their endowment. A portion of the seized funds will then be used as restitution for victims of these illegal and unjust policies that hurt our country so badly. Colleges have gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from hardworking taxpayers, and now we are going to get this anti-American insanity out of our institutions once and for all. We are going to have real education in America.
And that's something. So I saw this video clip. I had it on earlier, but I looked like I accidentally deleted it. But this is actually, if you're watching your screen, this is Columbia University announcing that all classes will now be remote for the rest of the year as pro-Palestine protests continue to disrupt the institution. Students are now calling for tuition refunds. They are increasing as the college costs $70,000 a year. This is Columbia University. Yeah, just shut down the classes, go home, do everything online. All that money you spent to come into class and learn. Just don't worry about it, folks. We're going to let these folks take over the campus and get whatever they want instead of disciplining them and telling them they're not allowed to do what they're doing to disrupt everything. No, give them what they want. And then we understand the problems that we have throughout our country. Other folks notice the problems we have. The voting actually happened in Pennsylvania, where President Trump won another state. Here, check this out.
Okay, I voted for Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump, and I voted for him the last time. Was very, very disappointed because he did an excellent job, and I would vote for him again and again. I think that he's truthful, and he follows through. He accomplished all the things that he wanted to accomplish, and I just feel bad that he didn't get a chance to complete all the things that he wanted to do. Well, I'm praying that it's going to be fair. As long as it's fair, that they don't pull any fast things. I think that he will do a good job for us.
There you go. Just a sweet young lady letting us know that, you know what? It should be fair next time. And they hope so. And these kids, just to show you real quick, having a chance to see President Trump and check out what he does with these two children.
Thank you. Is this your family?
This is.
This is a nice looking family, huh?
Say hi.
Beautiful.
Can they stand next to you real fast?
Come on, let's go. Get up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. We don't worship the man, but we look to him as a really great leader. He's very soft-spoken, but of course, when he gives his speeches or he does tweets that are called mean tweets, then people freak out. And I bring up once again, especially those that are new, that I was shocked as one of the largest Christian organizations or churches, the largest following, probably members in America. Back then in 2015, I remember them sitting and talking amongst each other about President Trump would not make a great president because he's just immoral and he's got a dirty mouth and he's harsh and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why are these guys like this? President Trump was pro-life. He had conservative values. He was running the Republican Party. I mean, what are you guys doing? Who's the better option? Hillary? Like, not only that, I mean, he had a lot of great things that he put on his websites to show that he was probably more on the side of biblical values than you'd ever seen. And then, you know what? We're not perfect. Well, then guess what happened? About 6 months ago, I started doing research to that organization and found out that many of the top leaders in that conservative Christian gang of churches got in a lot of trouble and swept it under the rug when it comes to sexual misconduct. Oh, yeah. Really bothered me. We don't worship the man, but I tell you what, he seems like a leader that was called by God away from his past life and some other things that people don't like. But you know what? Who doesn't have a past? So anyway, getting into the arrest stuff, a lot of folks have been speculating that maybe President Trump could be the one that we were told the first arrest, remember on the Q board, the one that gets attacked by the mainstream media, the one that's attacked by those that are tired of looking at it because they said nothing's happening, even though a lot of great stuff has been happening. And we proved them wrong over and over again. I say we because I love this board. And you know what? It goes under attack a lot. But I don't fall into the prey of we know the answers because only maybe 10 people know exactly what's going on at all times. We just speculate. We try to figure it out. Anyway, we were told the first indictment unseal will trigger the mass population awakening, and we were told the first arrest will verify action and confirm future direction. They will fight, but you are ready. We were told that in 2019 to December 17th. So could this be it? They arrest President Trump. Trump has to lose immunity to set a precedent, right? First arrest will verify action and confirm future direction. In other words, the future can then take all of the other presidents, all the criminals before him, the real criminals, and start unraveling everything for them in court and finally arrest those guys. And then they won't be able to say it was Trump's fault. He's actually put away. The reason these people haven't been arrested is because they have immunity. Yeah. The sitting president of the United States enjoys absolute immunity from many lawsuits while in office. It is under legal dispute whether they also enjoy immunity from criminal liability or prosecution. Neither civil nor criminal immunity is explicitly granted in the Constitution or any federal statute. The Supreme Court of the United States found in Nixon versus Fitzgerald, 1982, that the president has absolute immunity from civil damages actions regarding conduct within the outer perimeter of their duties. However, in Clinton versus Jones, 1997, the court ruled against temporary immunity for sitting presidents from suits arising from pre-presidency conduct. And there you have it. Almost sounds like Paul Harvey. Now you know the rest of the story. And he'd say, good day. I love that. Anyway, we're at amweknow.com, folks. Love this website. My son worked so hard to revamp it, make it where it actually looks good on your phone and more. We've had a lot of folks that had their hands on this and worked on it for a long time. When you go to amweknow.com, you'll see the @C with LT thing. You can click on that. It'll take you there if you want to get involved. You'll see some of the folks that, like even Dr. Kirk Elliott's got a little ad there. You can click on it and go to him. And you're like, wow, you can become a fellow member and get in our fellow videos every 4 to 6 weeks. I have meetings with them and we discuss things that I don't talk about online or issues that I'm dealing with. We have our newsletter you can subscribe to by putting your name and email in there, and you'll get our daily newsletter basically and let you know when our last podcast came out. You can listen to us, follow our podcast there. And so many pictures of the people wearing our gear. And also, if you want to go to our partners page, look at that. The EMF protection, we just had that interview with them. The Immune Support LT Pet Club 247, Dr. Shockley, and so many more. You can just love this. Thank you, Brandon. The Patriot.com, all the below. And of course, we got our gear. New car flags are available. Make those red nose. Shopline.com. If you read this here, you have people walk up to you and say, hey, I watch that channel too. Before you know, you have a great conversation. I want to show you something recently. LT, this is my 8-year-old granddaughter, Braylee. We live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Braylee's been battling DMG brain cancer for the past 14 months. She has undergone radiation and chemo. She prays to Jesus every day and listens to your show with me. Our family would like to wish yours many blessings. Sincerely, Bee's grandpa. Just want to lift you up, Braylee, in prayer and hope that somebody reaches out to you. We've had some folks that we're working on it and just wanted to let you know we care about you, love you. Thank you so much for watching and for your prayers. And so much more is so absolutely amazing. Here's more great pictures of Patriots wearing our gear. You know, former Japanese Prime Minister Taro Aso met with Donald Trump on Tuesday in New York. President Trump is what I like to call him. At a time when leaders and senior officials at some countries have been building rapport with the former U.S. president ahead of the November election. That's something he's been meeting. I think it was Poland the other day. Also, vice president of Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party was a longtime ally of the late former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who built a strong personal relationship with Trump when the two led their respective countries. Even after stepping down as prime minister in 2009, Aso, an 83-year-old House of Representatives member, remains one of the most influential politicians in the party. Yeah, President Trump said he's a highly respected man in Japan and beyond. Trump told reporters as he greeted Aso in the lobby of the Trump Tower, it's a great honor to have him. Well, what's really interesting is this picture right here. I want to zoom in, and I just want you to notice. Let's see, can we get any closer? Let me see. Yes, we can. Notice that that is a key to the White House. Huh. Can you buy that online and give those away? Do you have to be the president to give those away? I don't know. The conspiracy theories are rolling. Other things that kind of add weight to that would be this another signing. Biden renewing what? What did he renew? Oh, Executive Order 13818, blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Huh. It's still in play, says Dr. CIET 17. So Biden signed it, Biden Jr. I am continuing from 1 year the national emergency declared Executive Order 13818 with respect to serious human rights abuses and corruption. Why? Why would he sign that and keep it going? He's one of the most corrupt guys in the world and his son along with him. Huh. Speaking of corruption, wanted to get into some of this. Wanted to show you that I think who was putting this out? I think I had it up earlier before I continue talking about it. I believe it was a Substack that was put together by Pepe's Friend Zone. And this one was phenomenal. And I put a lot of the stuff that I share with you below the videos, below the podcast, so you can click on the links and you can read this entire thing, the Franklin Scandal Deep Dive, the Nebraska cover-up. And I tell you what, I'm not going to give it all away, but I'm going to share with you a lot of this because it's very interesting to me as we continue to unravel the corruption at so many levels. Okay. This is their playbook. Everything that happens in Nebraska is brought forth in this country and the world on an even grander stage at times. Once this reality sinks in, you can see it happening all around you. Sexual blackmail. Remember, we talked about that with Tucker Carlson, and he was on with Joe Rogan the other day. Is their preferred currency. Once they get you, you are theirs for life. They can control you, bend you to their will. And if you do not, you are canceled immediately. If you don't do what you're told, there's nothing anyone can do about it. Many of today's politicians have been branded by this evil. When a politician in the swamp does something you do not expect that aids the corruption rather than fighting it. Okay, when a politician in the swamp does something you do not expect that helps in the corruption, something's up. You can assume they're being bought and paid for. The playbook has been used and they are being puppeteered by blackmail of the worst kind. Now, before I go further, I wanted to show you this, by the way, just a quick note before you guys tune out. Tennessee actually passed the HB 1663 to allow death penalty for child rapists. The vote was 77 to 19. The 19 who voted against it are all Democrats. All! You have to see the evil way Democrats opposed it. Here's a pro-abortion Democrat rep, Afti Ben, called it incompatible with the right to life. Yes, the lady with the Planned Parenthood endorsement on her site actually said that in defense of child rapists. Check this out.
It is incompatible with the right to life. Let me say that again. The death penalty is incompatible with the right to life. It violates the constitutional ban on cruel and unusual punishment and guarantees of due process of law and equal protection under the law. My question for you, Leader Lamberth, is do you feel the death penalty repairs the harm caused by this unlawful behavior and is informed by what juvenile survivors of this crime need?
Hello? How about that? I'm not going to continue with it, but folks, what is wrong? Huh? Tennessee, death penalty for child rapists. And they said, no, we don't want that. So let's get into this. There's going to be a couple of images that maybe you don't want your children to see here. I'm going to show you in a second. They might want to turn away for a moment as that one plays through. It's basically showing kids that are, maybe I'll try to fast forward to that one really quick when I see it, but just warning you, okay, ahead of time for this one.
What if I told you that Jeffrey Epstein is just the tip of the iceberg? Introducing Lawrence E. King, Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chair now recognizes Lawrence King, Jr., a member of the Nebraska delegation, for the singing of the national anthem.
Lawrence King was running a child trafficking blackmail operation as he sang this in front of the National Republican Convention.
So there's that picture. Sorry, I've got to fast forward it through. But it says power brokers serve drugs, sex at parties, bugged for blackmail. These are in headlines from back then. Lobbyist is arrested in New York. Parents of Alicia Owen testify that FBI agents threatened them.
Before Epstein Island.
Another headline, a lurid, mysterious scandal begins to take shape in Omaha.
The Washington Times reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call.
What happened? Sorry about that. Let me get back to where that was, right here. There it is. There's a headline from back then. There's VIPs and high-level politicians. Homosexual prostitution inquiry ensnares VIPs with Reagan and Bush. Call boys took a midnight tour of the White House. Yeah. Do your research. You'll find out more. Remember Representative Frank admits employing male prostitute as an aide. The corruption is sickening. We're going to get through some of this. And then a self-proclaimed Satanist, devil worshiper, holds sensitive army post, and top brass say, no problem. Then you have Project MK Ultra. MK Ultra's Project Monarch. Remember? Mind control, sexual abuse, satanic rituals to create multiple personalities. This was done by our government, folks. Satanic rituals in our government. Grand jury says abuse stories were carefully, let's see, what is that? Let me see this one more time. Carefully crafted hoax. 3 are indicted. Talk show host Kathy Fife lost her job when she allowed a caller to name the names in the DeCamp memo. Jump from window kills Omaha man, 26 years old. 1985, Chris Tucker fell out of a window. 86, Charlie Rogers, gunshot suicide. 87, Bill Skoleski, heart attack. 88, Bill Baker, shot in the back of the head. 88, Dan Ryan, strangled or suffocated. 89, Craig Spence, suicide. 89, Kathleen Sorensen, car crash. 90, Gary Currati, an 8-year-old son, plane crash. 1990, Joe Malek, suicide. 1991, Newt Koppel died in his sleep unexpectedly. All these names showing up of just strange deaths, mysterious deaths, all linked to many of these cover-ups. And the story is just one thing after another of corruption, all connected to this Lawrence King guy and more. And so if you go a step further, King was allegedly, this guy that you're seeing on the screen here, you saw him in part of the video, was allegedly ascertaining children through a place called Boys Town that was supposed to be about raising and protecting children. Similar to Rachel Chandler, who found children that no one would miss in the modeling industry for Epstein. King had bought and paid for the entire system around him in what could be described as a playbook model for how our entire government works in many ways. He purchased and compromised the media and law enforcement. Sound familiar? DeCamp was smeared by the media, but this is where it gets wild. The media that was smearing him was one of the primary suspects. Yes, one of the editors of the Omaha World Herald, Harold Anderson, who ran hit pieces on the man speaking out for the children and the suspects themselves, was identified by these children as a rapist. This is the fox guarding the hen house to a T. The Kansas City Star came to the defense of Anderson by claiming that he was an icon of journalism who met with President Bush often. Not exactly the best company to keep, given what we've learned about Mr. Bush. Now, is it? It wasn't just one person in the media either. A man named Peter Citron from the Omaha World Herald was also busted for sexual assault of 2 boys in 1990. And then you've got Paul Bonacci, probably the most important witness in the case, told deposition that the government via Project Monarch was training young children, both boys and girls, to become MK Ultra slaves, where they would use them as tools to blackmail politicians and get what they want, and that Larry King was an integral part of this operation. Take a listen, folks, in case you have people out there saying, oh, it's conspiracy. No, they didn't. There's no such thing as satanic worship in the government. Oh, there's no such thing as ritual abuse of children in the government. Oh, nobody's ever done anything like this before. Don't tell me about the Clintons. They're good people. They're not bad. Don't tell me about the Bushes. They're good people, not bad. The evidence keeps coming out, and we need all of this to protect our children, folks. It's all about our children.
I know that they involve with child abuse because they have a lot of schools where they train girls to be prostitutes and boys, as myself in the early days. They used us to, how shall I say, get what they wanted. Let's
What
say
did they want?
They had a politician who liked girls or boys, men, women. They would get them into a position where they would have.
They would be with one of the kids and they'd videotape them and use it for blackmail. And then Nebraska State Senator Schmidt goes to the FBI along with the camp where they elaborate on the crimes allegedly being committed. And guess what they found out? One of the main suspects, a cop, Robert Wadman, was best friends with the head FBI agent they were tasked to speak with. And guess what he told Schmidt? He told them that if they took on the suspect, they were taking on the FBI itself. Now we're talking about the guardians of the pedophiles, people. The FBI, according to this article, according to what was put together with the evidence right in front of us. Chapter 9 of DeCamp's book explains this conundrum in detail. How do you investigate crimes if the FBI itself is protecting those who are allegedly committing them? Quote, in brutal language and with the most somber demeanor possible, Mr. O'Hara, chief of FBI, made it clear that probably his closest friend in the world was Police Chief Robert Wadman, and that anyone who would dare to accuse Robert Wadman of impropriety had better realize that in accusing Wadman, they were effectively taking on Nick O'Hara and the FBI. I realized instantly that my advice to Senator Schmidt may have been my fault. How could I have known in advance that this head of the FBI and the former chief were so intimate in their business and personal relationships? Now do you see why, folks, we bring up all the time, why the FBI went after President Trump when he was in the office, tried to record him, did so many illegal activities to take him out? Now do you understand why they dressed up as Trump supporters and rallied everybody to go into the Capitol and then said, oh, now we can come after you and go arrest you and put you in jail and scare everyone to keep them from fighting back their constitutional rights and telling the government you're done? And so all of this was playing out. And you had ways that these deaths would happen. And in one of the videos I'm showing you now, they actually show you a gun with an actual, like a stun dart or filled with poison, and they would basically shoot it into the, let's see, this is, he told the Senate committee hearing on intelligent operations that the CIA had a heart attack gun. It could kill anyone without it looking like a murder. The gun itself would imitate a heart attack so people would never suspect an assassin. This is in the 1970s. They had this technology. If you're looking at your screen, he places it down there for them to see, slides it across and shows them the poison.
Does this pistol fire the dart? Yes, it does, Mr. Chairman. The round thing at the top is obviously the sight. The rest of it is what is practically a normal 45, although it's special. However, it works by electricity. There's a battery in the handle, and it fires a small dart.
Fires a small dart, electric. That was in the 70s. Imagine what they can do now. Yeah, Ultra Pep Lives Matter, great job. Showing you how they take people out. They hired a private investigator, a man called Gary Caradori, to find the truth. He must have been way too over the target when they were looking to all of this, and he had hours of interviews with the child victims and the pictures and the proof, right, of all these politicians and more. But tragedy struck 12 days after the death of Gary Caradori in an inexplicable plane crash. A grand jury issued a report in the World Herald, the newspaper containing said suspects, claiming that the abuse stories were a carefully crafted hoax. So the man with all the evidence was killed, and then less than 2 weeks after he suddenly died, the media, who were the suspects, claimed that it's all a hoax. Ultra Pep Lives Matter says one has to think seriously about all that the Franklin cover-up really entails. A sobering truth. How many trafficking rings have been set up around the country that have been covered up to protect the system, just like what happened in Nebraska? If Paul was telling the truth, he asserted there were other satanic rings in many different states. How could this be? Those of us who study these subjects must live with knowing, and that knowledge is a burden in and of itself. But surely we cannot look away, if only for the sake of the children. Despite all this, Larry King was actually convicted and given a slap on the wrist. Larry King was convicted, but not of running a trafficking ring. All the witnesses were jailed, killed, or silenced. This is akin to Epstein taking the fall, yet the client list remains protected. When I told you that this was the original Epstein, I meant it. Can I get any more obvious? Can it get any more obvious? How many more rings have been covered up that we haven't heard of? If you Google the Franklin scandal, guess what kind of information you receive? Little to none. This tells you all you need to know. You might think that these claims are outlandish at first, but let me remind you that the British spy Aleister Crowley was openly using satanic rituals, the eating of blood and human sacrifice, occult rituals in his experiments. He literally worshipped Egyptian gods and practiced magic. And it's not some kind of conspiracy theory. Crowley openly wrote that child blood was the most powerful, and SEX gave him the most powerful in his rituals. He himself is a red pill worthy of writing an entire dig on. It's so dark, the rabbit hole, that you have to rub your eyes when reading about him. You can't believe King was actually deeply embedded with the CIA, and once he began to follow the money, and it was worse. Think about what we know about Jeffrey Epstein and the occult influences, and ask yourself, how far-fetched is it that our own government had satanic influences pulling strings behind the scenes? Whew. His testimony on what these people were doing to children is so heinous. The worst thing we've ever read. And Ultra Pepper Lives Matter said he hesitates to post it anywhere. Sick world that we live in. These folks need to be taken down. My hope is that through the prayer, we can find it and see what's going on. We are living in a time where Satan doesn't even hide anymore, and the world still can't see him. In our Hollywood industry, the music business, the politicians, the sick things that are going on. What did I just see earlier? I was looking at something earlier and I noticed, I think I lost it now. Some more folks in Disney were arrested. How can we continue to move forward with all of this going on? Not only that, we had China dumping U.S. treasuries and buying gold. Yeah. Chinese accumulate more and more gold. They're dumping U.S. treasuries. That raises an important question. Who's going to keep funding the federal government's borrowing spree? We talked about this with Dr. Kirk Elliott. Gold, silver war games. Iran attacks seem to be economically based. The dollar's being weaponized and more. And folks, you can go to Dr. Kirk Elliott. You can call him. You can go to amweknow.com/gold. Reach out to him. Have the same conversations that I have with him and other folks that work there. It is amazing.
It kind of makes sense when you start to connect some dots. But what China's doing by now promoting silver purchases for their entire population rather than gold tells me they just conducted a shot across the bow to the Western banking system, and we get to participate in it. And I mean, this is kind of amazing. Not participate in the economic war, participate in the results of it, which are gold and silver could absolutely go through the roof. And if we own it, we get to thrive.
Yeah. So you had something else that you wanted. Great interview. Guys, go check it out. That was this past Sunday. You don't want to miss it. And it kind of reminds me, as we go through all of this, almost every video, we just wonder how all of this has been playing out to have such an effect on all of us. What we've been witnessing and why we go through what we go through. And I figured I'd read this one of these days, and now's the time to do it. Remember we talked about, you guys, most of you know the movie The Wizard of Oz, kind of giving us a preview of some of the things we go through day in and day out. The straw man represents the fictional, all caps legal fiction, the person. He wanted a brain but got a certificate, the birth certificate. The Tin Man, the 10 is the taxpayer identification number. He was a robotic avatar who worked tirelessly until his body literally froze up and stopped functioning. The heartless and emotionless robot creature who worked himself to death because he had no heart or soul. The cowardly lion was a bully, but was actually a true coward when someone stood up to him, like most bullies. He lacked true courage, and in the end, the wizard gave him an official recognition award, authority, and status. The Wizard of Oz used magic, smoke, flames, and holograms, but all of it were tricks and illusions to push fear and compliance to make people do what he commanded. The truth is, the wizard has no real power and only used illusions to create false power and authority. The wicked witch pushed fear through intimidation. She was after Toto and controlled the flying monkey police, the policy enforcers, the mischievous demons, which also represents the Bar Association, who attack and control all the little people for the great crown wizard, the crooked bankers of Oz, obsessed with gold. In the field of poppies, they were not real humans, so drugs had no effect on them, but Dorothy was drugged. The Wizard of Oz was written at the time when Rockefeller and the big pharma began to take over medicine and education. The Crown was actually the largest drug dealer, and after their takeover of drug distribution in China, they began to expand all around the world. Toto was that what the Wicked Witch was really after. Toto in Latin means in total. Toto exposes the Wizard of Oz and had no fear despite being very small compared to the great wizard, so no one noticed him. Toto pulled the curtain on the wizard and his magical scams. Curtain also means the end of an act or scene. He pulled the curtain and started barking until others paid attention, hypothetically giving everyone the red pill. The curtain hid the corporate legal fiction and its false courts. So, no matter how small your bark is, it can be heard. That's from Guy. The things that we're going through, the wake up that's happening, the many folks are starting to catch on more and more every day how this plays out. And there's evil everywhere, and I get it. And there's many that write in saying, you know what? I need hope. I need to know things are going to be okay. Folks, I don't have the answers to all of the future, but I know who holds the future, our Heavenly Father. I know our eyes have been open to a lot of evil, but you know what? We have to spend time in the Word of God. We need to take walks, do some puzzles together, play some board games, talk in the backyard, watch the sun go down, go swimming. We don't have to be enamored or continue to watch these evil ones constantly doing what they're doing, but we just need to be aware. And when folks bring it up, we can let them know what we know and go about our business. We don't have to be afraid. Psalm 23, 4-6 says, Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you once again for the reminder of your love for us. Thank you for allowing us to even hear through these devices, to be able to put things together using technology, to get out to each individual wherever they are at this day, that you are working on them. As a reminder of this week's Bible study with my friend, just in Genesis 1 alone, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void. And I tell you, reading that and the reminder that you said, and the Spirit was hovering above the waters and the darkness, and you said, let there be light, and there was light, and it was good. It kind of reminded me of salvation, of what you provide. There are so many empty hearts, so many dark hearts out there. And you, through the Holy Spirit, hover above the waters of our dark souls, those dark souls that have never talked to you ever, have ever been awake to your love and your grace and your mercy, and you basically speak to them, let there be light. How amazing that your plan of salvation is just weaved throughout Scripture for us. Thank you for your Son dying on the cross for us and coming back alive again so we can celebrate knowing death has been conquered and we can come to you through your Son. Thank you for the guidance you continue to give us and strength to talk to our neighbors, to talk to our friends, to love our neighbors as ourselves. We know that. Help us to do that. Help us as folks grow weary to lift each other up. As the arms are falling like Moses, may we come alongside those folks, lift their arms up and say, let's keep going. Come on. The battle's still going. What a mighty God we serve. You're amazing. Ask for continued protection for those on the front lines, for those in the battle, for those that are fighting for their families. Lord, protect us. We ask all this in the name of Yeshua, our Heavenly Father, through Christ our Savior. Amen and amen. Folks, thank you so much for your prayers, for your support. We've got some great things coming up. I mean, I can't wait to tell you. Whew, it's going to be really good. We got the cruise coming up but man, God's just been doing great things and bringing the right people on this show that are not part of like a mainframe thing that's been put on everybody. I believe the Lord's been working to bring the right people together. And we're going to have a gathering one of these days, folks, and it's going to be wonderful. I thank you for your prayers for that. And just remember that that whatever you're going through, that you can cry out to your Heavenly Father, no matter what, even if you failed. He's so filled with grace and mercy. It's absolutely amazing. Let's continue to work together, support one another until another day, all right? For now, this is LT saying, Semper Fi with them we know. Signing out.
All right. That was LT, and we know. All right, guys. So, like I said, got to conserve. Hopefully, if fuel order gets done today, we will be back to long streams starting tomorrow. So keep your fingers crossed. I might take tomorrow off. I'm not positive, but and we'll see. We'll see. I've never done anything on those community notes things, but I may just I may actually do that. And see if and just to let everybody know what's going on. So, all right, with that, remember, God loves you, Jesus loves you, I love you, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.